disposable vape. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Homeowners know what trouble sounds like. Uh-oh. That's why they're covered by Ireland's soundest home insurance provider, SuperValue Insurance.
OK, well, thanks for calling us, Claire. Sure, we've all been there. I'm an air fryer man these days. One straight to air fry a turnip. Wasn't bad, actually.
Get a quote from SuperValue Home Insurance to get 15% off online. And we'll even throw in €40 in vouchers. T's and C's apply. Vouchers include two €20 or €40 spend. Home contents only, policies excluded. This home insurance is underwritten by AXA Insurance DAC. SuperValue Financial Services DAC, trading as SuperValue Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to Friday's 9 till noon show. It's 3 minutes past 9 on this Friday, the 31st of October 2025. A happy Halloween to you. And we're here with you, of course, for the next 3 hours. I'll introduce to you very shortly our Friday panel. We're going to be running through some of the big stories of the day and the week, and we want you involved in that conversation naturally. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or you can give us a call on 07491 25,000 or email comments@highlandradio.com. And of course you can watch the programme, watch our guests on the YouTube app, on your smart TV, your Fire Stick or your mobile devices, on our Facebook pages, and of course on the X platform. So it's a blended panel today. Let's say good morning first to retired Garda Sergeant Christy Galligan. Good morning, Christy. How are you getting on?
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for having me on.
It is good to have you with us. We have Independent Senator Eileen Flynn joining us as well. Eileen, great to see you again. How are you keeping?
Good, Greg. Thanks for having me on the programme this morning.
No, it's our pleasure. And joining us in studio, as it's a blended panel, is Senator Niall Blaney of Fianna Fáil. Good morning, Niall.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Right, one of the big political stories of the week, Micheál Martin. Well, let's not forget he's not only successfully brought Fianna Fáil back into government twice, but is now serving his second term as Taoiseach in a historic coalition. However, with the upcoming rotation of the Taoiseach role in 2027, recent polls showing a dip in the party's support and vocal discontent from some TDs and the grassroots following the recent poll performance in the presidential election, the question of his long-term leadership inevitably rises. And this obviously is a story that we were going to discuss anyway, but it just so happens we have a Fianna Fáil senator with us, so I might as well ask you first. How long do you think he will hold on for, Niall Blaney?
Well, I suppose, Greg, how long is a piece of string? I can't answer that. That's a matter for all the members collectively of the Parliamentary Party. Well, actually, the TDs in the Parliamentary Party, it's they has the vote, not the senators, in relation to the removal of otherwise of a leader. But I suppose it's right to recognise that we've had a bad number of weeks in the whole presidential debacle. I suppose our approach to selecting a candidate has been pretty much out there. It hasn't been a good process. But what's probably sad over the last couple of weeks is our own reaction by our own senior people in the party and our leader. I think it's sad that a list emerged over the weekend of members that spoke out. That's their right to do so. Nobody spoke out when Micheál Martin and those that backed him spoke out against the leader of the party back in 2011. It's their right to do so. And it's sad when it comes to that stage that we have to start picking out people like they're bad boys in the classroom. That's not the democratic process.
Is that not another black mark on the leadership then, really, effectively?
It is, and I suppose there are a number. He spoke in the Clareburn show yesterday morning, and he talked about how Bertie Ahern wasn't fit to be a candidate in the presidential process. And again, that's a mark of him undermining the say that the PP members should have had in the process. And he took that from them. And that's wrong. And I think that the longer this continues, I think the poorer the party will be and our standing in the polls.
So are you of the view then that with everything that's gone on, the time for new leadership is now?
Well, I think probably the most stark reality was at the weekend, seeing the result of the presidential election. It's the first time in the history of the state that the centre ground has shifted. And that's, for me, a wake-up call, and it should be for every member of Fianna Fáil. And to address that, it means seismic proportions and a real look at ourselves as a party. And in doing that, it may well mean change of leadership as well. And I think if Micheál Martin was smart at this stage, that rather than all this show that's going on, one against the other, tearing the party apart, I think Micheál Martin should name a date and decide that he is going to leave in the not too distant future, and let the party start getting on with it and rebuilding again. I think it's the smartest thing to do, but moreover the best thing for the good of the party, and let whoever the new incumbent's going to be, give them time to plan and to rebuild the party, and I suppose address our policy direction. Because it's going to take a policy direction to win back that centre ground.
Yeah, and I'll bring our other panel members in a moment, but he said, again, he's doubled down that he's going to be the Taoiseach, he's going to lead the party into the next election. I presume he chooses his words very, very carefully. He seems determined to do that. So does that make a heave inevitable then, if he doesn't leave on his terms?
I'm kind of going back to repeating what I said a few months ago, Greg, because I just feel the last couple of weeks has been a dreadful time for the Fianna Fáil party. This tearing apart of each other is not a good way to go. And for the sake of the party, I think the right thing for him to do is to name a date when he still has control. Because I think the longer this goes on, the more he's undermining himself, the more he's undermining his own legacy. And I think when he has the ability, I think he should name his own date.
All right, stay with us. Senator Eileen Flynn, I mean, obviously, when it boils down to it, it's almost like an internal party matter, but it's no doubt that the public's attitude, the way the public have voted, and some of the decisions Micheál Martin's taken in that context, obviously, and he is the Taoiseach, so everyone has an interest in this. What's your view, Senator Eileen Flynn?
I'll just start by saying, Greg, I remember about 2 years ago, Michael Healy-Rae said to me, Eileen, a lot of politicians' careers end with a bang. It either ends in death or something that we're seeing now, someone having to resign because of their actions. Around Micheál Martin, that's an issue, I believe, for the Fianna Fáil party. If I look at what he's achieved over the years, he has done some really good work with the smoking ban, with, appointing the first ever member of the traveller community to the Shannon. So I have to be mindful of that as well. But I will say, what about the 29 members of Fianna Fáil who voted for Billy Callagher? I think they were the 29 members in the party that had it right. Micheál Martin, unfortunately, in this regard, supporting Jim Gavin, was going for gold, but ended up losing, if you want. Didn't any consultation really with party members, and I think any good leader is able to bring people with them and able to bring their party with them. And again, I think it's a matter for Fianna Fáil, but as Niall has rightly said, I think it's time that Micheál Martin goes and come up with his own date of stepping down as the party leader, and just come up with his own date, because again, we can't forget some of the good stuff that he's done as a person as well, and I think that's really important. But it is a matter for Fianna Fáil, and if you're I was listening to the World is coming back from Dublin on Sunday, and there were one or two Fianna Fáil TDs, and I think not being collective as a party. So they all need to get together and just work on the matters of the leadership and come together collectively as a party. Now, I'm not a member of Fianna Fáil, far from it. But again, I see some good politicians, like what was wrong with Bertie Ahern? What was wrong with Eamon O'Queeve and Billy Callagher to be put up for the presidential election? It wasn't up to Micheál Martin to make up, to decide on behalf of all Fianna Fáil.
Yeah, and I take your point, and I did sort of phrase the question as it being internal matter, but adding as well, though, I mean, obviously, Micheál Martin is the leader of the country, and if his own party is some within his own party having question marks about the leader of the party, well, then obviously then you have to sort of say widen it out and drag everyone in and say, well, we're also talking about the leader of the country. I will say there were 29 voted for Billy Kelleher and 1 for Bertie Ahern, if I'm not mistaken, Niall.
No, on the day of the vote.
You didn't protest and just write in Bertie Ahern, no?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I voted for Billy Kelleher. I think I addressed it before with you. In the
No,
last
you
time I
did.
was on, yeah.
You did indeed. Christy Galligan, looking on, what's your view on the future of Micheál Martin, his leadership, and the future of his leadership of the country?
Well, I think it was an unmitigated disaster for Fianna Fáil in relation to putting Jim Gavin forward. I think it was putting a bet on the wrong horse at the end of the day. He probably thought, along with those who agreed with him, that putting Jim Gavin forward would get him a huge Dublin vote for this presidential election. That what didn't happen because of the due diligence that wasn't carried out. And this presidential election, I have to say, I was bored with it. I didn't see enough candidates coming forward, and those that did try to come forward were stymied because they didn't get enough TDs or councils to support them in going forward. I'd have liked to have seen more candidates, and I think that's a big problem going forward.
And we'll talk about
number
that.
of spoiled
we
votes
will certainly.
is another thing that needs
It
to
is,
look at.
and we'll talk about it after the break.
Yeah.
So I do want to dedicate a section of this hour to that. But is that as far as you wish to go with Micheál Martin's leadership? You believe it's time for him to
Billy
go?
Kelleher said that Fianna Fáil does not have an open, transparent bidding system for internal selections. And he alleged that it had done a huge amount of damage, both to the individual and his family and the party itself. And I think that comes down to the process itself for Fianna Fáil. I think Fianna Fáil has done itself a fair amount of damage. And I think Micheál Martin has to look at, will he stay on? Will there be a move before the European presidency comes to the country, or before that, or will he stay on till 2027? I can't see him staying on till 2027.
Do you see a natural successor to him?
That's very hard to say at the present moment in time. There are some very good candidates, very well qualified candidates that could step into his shoes. But I mean, again, it's down to the party process. Will Billy Kelleher make a move at this stage? He possibly could.
I don't think he can because he's in Europe, so I don't think Billy can make a move now. I think from talking to some Fianna Fáil members who would be best placed to be the next leader, from speaking to people in the party, would be Jim O'Callaghan. Now, I don't know Niall's opinion on that, but that's, yeah.
Niall?
Yeah, well, I suppose we're plenty of options as new leaders. From a women's perspective, we have Norma Foley, we have the two Daras, Dara Bryan, Dara Cleary, Jim O'Callaghan himself, and there will be others, no doubt.
Yeah, I heard someone say that Fianna Fáil was lacking in options. I don't
think so,
that.
and probably before this whole process, Jack Chambers would have been as well, until he probably was sent out with the Taoiseach on the Monday to actually rescue the Gavin situation, and unfortunately for him, he didn't see it, and since that's, I suppose, appearance on that Monday, he probably is now ruled out as a possible leader in the short term.
Bad management is bad management, whether it's in a small company, a medium-sized company, or a big company. And it's also looking after the people. And I think when you are managing an organisation and you don't look after the people, you've lost the organisation. So, I mean, obviously, let's just park what some people might want to text in, but text in if you want to anyway. Bertie Ahern, right? Okay, so obviously he can be a divisive character. But he's a very important part of the Fianna Fáil story, right? And the way he was treated would be very disrespectful. Was seen as very disrespectful. Even someone like very close to us, Patrick O'Gallagher, who's been there, done that, seen it all. The fact that he wouldn't even be consulted, and then to come out and say, well, no one come and approached me about anything. You know, that's problematic. And as I say, not just in a political party, but if that was an organisation, if you don't have respect for people, or you know, you don't consult them or whatever it is a recipe for disaster now.
It is, and I suppose in Bertie Ahern's case, he contacted the party through the chief executive.
I think on multiple months, consecutive months, wasn't it?
December of last year, and asked for a response. Response wasn't coming. He asked for a response sooner rather than later. To this day, he's never got a response. And to tell me that the Taoiseach wasn't aware of that when the heads of his organisation were meeting him. Moreover, what was stopping him lifting the phone? This thing of being at the end of the phone is not good enough. And you're right about an organisation. An organisation is as good as a leader. And I found myself at a local meeting of the party in the last number of days, myself and Sharon McConlogue and Patrick O'Callagher, three us in much different perspectives in relation to the European campaign and the outcome of it. And really that's
the presidential campaign.
The presidential campaign. And really that's down to a lack of leadership. We're not having that leadership in the top. We're certainly not having the communication with the leader we should have.
So what can I guess? You're pretty angry. Patrick O'Callagher is holding his fire and Charlie McConnell's backing Micheál Martin 100%.
Well, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, Craig. It's not for me to get their perspective.
Yeah.
See, I
but the
actually
point
wonder.
is, as our leader should be espousing all our views and our direction, and that's just not happening at the moment.
Eileen, you want to come back in there, please?
Yeah, I don't know. I could be speaking out of turn here, but anyway, I'll say it. My gut says there's something bigger going on. Fianna Fáil couldn't have lost over €200,000 in a campaign, all at the cost of over €3,000 for the candidate that they put forward. So, I've a lot of questions. I every day reading, seeing is there any other stories coming up, because I see people on the margins of society that over $3,000 to come out of an election, and for Fianna Fáil to have such a bad outcome. What is really going on? What's the real story?
Sorry, what do you mean by that, Eileen? I'm not following.
It just why somebody came out of a campaign because of €3,000.
Oh yes, of course, Jim Gavin. All right, okay, I get you. Yeah.
So there's really big questions.
To be honest with you, at that time, Eileen, the media was only interested in hatcheting people down. That's all they were, not teaching us about the candidates or what have you. And I think really, and we saw it with the former weather forecaster, her name just escapes me at the moment. Joanne Donnelly. I actually think that Jim Gavin says, I don't want this. I don't want my life's being dragged into it. I'm having to talk about my finances back in the Celtic Tiger. Now, that was just my gut feeling. You've got me thinking otherwise. Now I'm coming down that rabbit hole with you, maybe, but you know what I mean?
I just think over €3,000, it's it's just blows my mind to think that someone was out, an organisation, a political party was out nearly €200,000. I seen our Dra was full of Jim Gavin posters all around Dublin, full of them, much more so than Heather Humphreys or Catherine Connolly. I think we had about 3 or 4 posters of Catherine in our Dra, obviously because the people funded Catherine's campaign. So for me, I just, and I think anybody listening to the show and people is asking that question, why did Jim Gavin drop out over €3,700?
Right. Do you get where, obviously you get where Eileen's coming from. I genuinely feel it was the scrutiny he didn't like, but anyway.
I suppose before Jim was selected, I spoke to Jack Chambers and told him it was my solemn opinion that Jim Gavin was somebody that I really respected for what he'd done for GA and moreover for Dublin. Certainly no Dublin supporter, but what he'd done was something else. But that said, he did not have the communication skills necessary to run a campaign like this, or to, I suppose, stand up to the kind of scrutiny that you're going to get in a debate. I said very clearly, and I also met Jim Gavin here the week before the process started. I told Jim Gavin, I don't meet somebody and think something and leave them going off thinking otherwise. So I told him I couldn't understand, first of all, why Jack Chambers announced you as a candidate, and moreover, there's a question mark over your ability to communicate when it comes to these debates. And
did he reassure you? Or
He didn't. He didn't. He talked about what he'd done in the inner city and his CV and that, and he's an excellent CV. But we know there's been many politicians over the years that have been torn apart in these debates. They're not for the faint-hearted. Billy Keller would have fared far better because it's been his life.
He's a politician.
He's a politician, exactly, and Jim's not, and it was pointed out by more than me to the senior leadership, but it's ignored.
All right, I'm going to come back. Unless there's something quickly you want to add there, Christy, I'm kind of coming.
Yeah, well, I think what we all have got out of this is that the whole process of selection for the presidential needs to be changed, and you can only change that through the Constitution if there's a referendum and the Constitution.
Well, listen,
itself.
stay where you are, because I feel like I'm trying to hold you back. I'm on your back, pulling on the reins here, because we are going to talk about the lessons learned, the fallout from the presidential election. So what I'll do is I'll take this quick break, and I'll come back to you and kick off the conversation from there. Stay where you are. Back with more in a couple of minutes. Don't forget 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp number.
About 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the costs.
Republic of Ireland residents can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
For all you hard workers and multitaskers, those who come to work with big ambitions and bigger ideas, and all you legends of the trade, however you get the job done, there's a Volkswagen commercial vehicle for your business. Choose the new Transporter, Caddy Cargo, Crafter, Amarok, or the all-electric ID Buzz Cargo. Enjoy HB finance from 0% or purchase contributions of up to €2,000. Find the Volkswagen in you with the 261 range. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
Order your 261 with Connolly's Volkswagen Commercials Letterkenny. See connellys.ie.
Discover amazing deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori, Strabane. Enjoy a 2-course menu for £19.95 Monday to Friday, Euro for pound night Wednesday and steak night Thursday. Sunday carvery from 12:30 to 3:30. Party packages and function rooms available. Call 02871 382905 to book.
Autumn is alive with a kaleidoscope of colour, nature and adventure at National Trust NI. Unwind and relax with a crunchy leaf walk through Rowellan Garden. Sample the finest seasonal food at Florence Court's Harvest Fair. Gaze into the majestic mirror-like lake at Mount Stewart. And breathe in the beautiful garden at Castle Ward. Or delight with frightful fun on one of our trails this Halloween half-term. Come along and make wonderful memories this autumn. Search National Trust NI today.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time now, 9:25. It's our Friday panel in the company of Senator Eileen Flynn, Independent, Senator Noel Blaney of Fianna Fáil, and Christy Galligan, a retired Garda Sergeant. So, we're 1 week on from Catherine Connolly's landslide victory, which many feel has been overshadowed by one stock figure, an unprecedented 213,738 spoiled ballots, amounting to nearly 13% of the total poll. That's a tenfold increase on the last election. This combined with low turnout and the fact that an Ireland Thinks poll found 50% of those who spoiled their votes cited lack of choice or dislike of the candidates as an undeniable sign, or is this an undeniable sign of mass voter alienation? Does this extraordinary protest vote mark a seismic failure of the current nomination rules, Christy?
Yeah, well, I do believe that the civil war parties, as they're known, have merged into one, and this election, especially the spoiled ballots, when you tie up the spoiled ballots at 13% and another 7% for Jim Gavin, that's 20% out of the total numbers that were voting. And I think that was a key point for me, that if people are willing to spoil their votes, or even some people who didn't go out and even vote, but the people who did vote and spoiled their votes, said that this was kind of a protest vote against the government parties of the day, as well as of all the policies in relation to all of the things in relation to housing, immigration, and all of the well-aired subject matters that we have seen at this time. And I think it should be a warning sign to the government parties. You get your act together, or come the next election, we will see
but it's not just the government parties. It's the Dáil as a whole. It's the opposition parties as well. I mean, more people didn't vote than did vote, and as you say, 20% of those that decided to vote, you could deem it some sort of a protest. So it goes beyond Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil. Surely you have to look at Sinn Féin et al.
Yeah, I believe that Sinn Féin, they came on the backing of Labour and others who promoted Catherine Connolly, and Catherine Connolly would see herself as an independent person. But I think the debate that surrounded Catherine Connolly in relation to representation of banks and all of that was a moot point at the end of the day. And I think Jim O'Callaghan, the Minister for Justice, really put it to bed at the end of the day, and that was a side issue. The big issue for a lot of people is, remember, the presidential election the presidency is really a symbolic position here in society, and there's very little that they can do to change the narrative when it comes to government policy. Now, they can refer bills to the Supreme Court, etc. But other than that, it's a very symbolic position. So, I mean, for a lot of people, and it just shows you, out of, I think, a total electorate of 3.6 million, I think, that only 1.6 million people came out to vote.
Yeah, but ahead of the election, though, and I think this is something that has to be factored in, 49% of people said that they didn't have a candidate in the field that reflected their views. So why would anyone come out to vote at all? And if you didn't have a very motivated, close on 250,000 people that came out and to spoil the votes, it would have been a record low turnout.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. And I think, as I said before, Greg, we didn't have enough candidates that we could select from. And I think that's frustrating for a lot of people. You had the issue surrounding Maria Steen. She had 18 TDs, but she couldn't get another two TDs to get her into the campaign itself.
Yeah, but she was so late to it. She was she was so late to the party that there are TDs there are TDs that probably would have endorsed her, but had already used that opportunity. So I mean, I think Maria Steen's late arrival into it also has to be factored in.
Yeah, but I think we need to widen to get away from the political establishment. People were frustrated with the political establishment already, and I think we need to move away from the fact that you need 20 TDs or you need 3 or 4 councils to make sure that somebody stands forward as a candidate. I think that has to change if we want to look at other candidates that could be good enough as candidates for a presidential election. Are we a true democracy when we look at that only through the political juggernaut that we have at the present moment, that only through the political system that we can have these candidates going forward?
Yeah, but if you have the right candidates, do they not come forward? Let's not forget, over the last 20, 30 years, there's been far more independents on the ballot than there have been.
We've had some marvelous presidential candidate elections, and and there were we talk about Mary Robinson and Mary McAleese and others, and even Michael D himself. They're fantastic candidates, and they have really promoted Ireland as a whole, both here and abroad, and I think they're fantastic candidates. But we're living in a very kind of a world that is in an upheaval at the present moment in time, and dealing with a very far right extremes left or extremes right, and we need somebody with that diplomatic nous that we need in as president of the country.
But is Catherine Connolly?
Do we have it in
person?
Catherine Connolly?
Well,
I hope we do.
We'll see.
I really hope we do.
Niall?
Yeah, I suppose I'll make a few points from that. First of all, in relation to the system has served us well over many years. And I believe it would have this time as well if certain candidates had taken serious consideration of their will to contest or look to contest the presidency, if they had taken it seriously early on. My recollection of it is such that once the former MEP, Maria McGuinness, stood down A whole lot of people stood up and, my God, realised there's an opportunity here. And it was only then we started to see some of the independents showing their heads, whereas Kathleen Connolly was out early days. There may be a lot to be said for being out early days. But for the likes of Maria Steen and other independents who went the council route, certainly I know that those that went the council route went far too late. Some of them didn't get near the councils at all. I know from Donegal's perspective, they were waiting to see people like Maria Steen and others, but never materialised.
Yeah, but that's because it was blocked. That's because
it wasn't blocked. Can I say this much, Greg?
They had not blocked by parties. They were, and it was actually an independent that blocked it. If you put it like that, as far as I understand, you need 5 to call a meeting to consider candidates. Yeah. They had 5, and 1 independent pulled out. So that's what I mean by blocked. Actually,
yeah, they never were more independents. But like Dana is the one that could actually tell you the route that she went and how she done it, and it's about putting the time in, and it's about going meeting people, and it's about building relationships with councillors. That didn't happen in this election, and those independents that were down the route of the councils didn't have enough time.
Can I say though, and I said the point. I know you've other things to say, but that sometimes though people come in and ride the public wave, right? So, you know, you get a movement sort of online and what have you that says, right, we don't really feel represented here. You know, you've got sort of 2 centre-left politicians. Who are we going to vote for? And then you get a Maria Steen that goes, right, well, actually, I have ambitions here. I didn't think I have a chance. I'm going to try and ride this public wave into office, in her defence.
Yeah, well, I think some of those that went down the council route probably could have got more councils. I think Donegal was one that could have been got by one of them if they'd have put the time into it. Outside of the fact that the 4 councillors or the 5 councillors and the independents didn't materialise. Moreover, Maria Steen, again, was independents blocked her because there was 4 senators, independent senators sitting in Shannon Aaron that didn't sign her papers. And for whatever reasons.
Well, some of it would have been
too late in coming on.
Yeah, but also some of it would be a lot of the online rhetoric. So while some senators were still considering their position, they were being called all manner of things online, to the point whereby they were almost being coerced into supporting Maria Sheen. So I would argue that some of her most fervent support actually ended up costing her the nomination, which I don't think has been talked about a lot, but I know of at least 2 senators that publicly said that they couldn't endorse a candidate whose supporters treated them like they did treat them.
Well, I suppose there's a block of 3 senators, namely Jerry Crawford, Victor Boyan, and
that's a wee bit unfair now.
Senator McDowell, who I suppose at the end of the day could have backed her, but for whatever reasons didn't back her.
Come on in there.
In relation to symbolism, if you don't mind, just in relation to symbolism.
Yeah.
I'll come to you. Yeah, go on. Just do this bit, and then we'll come back to the symbolism.
That's a wee bit unfair when Fianna Fáil gave their indication to local county councillors not to back anybody, that they have their own horse. The same with Fine Gael. And if you listen back to the World RTE on Sunday, you will hear Maria Steins saying that herself. I think, Greg, we need to be really careful. I think that everybody should have the rights to put themselves forward to be a candidate for the presidential election. You know, what we've had for years has worked. It does need to change. We have to realise that protest vote. Not everybody who did a protest vote is anti-government. They're anti. They're pro housing. They're pro people actually, and they feel that forgotten in society. You know, and I just think it's unfair for Senator Blaney to say that Michael McDougall, Jared Crockwell. Now, and I'm not their biggest fans, far from their biggest fans. But again, you know, we have to realise what the political leaders did in political parties when it came to county councillors.
Yeah, but you would agree.
I have to pull Eileen up there because that's not true. There actually were some of the councils. There's 2 councils. There are 2 councils that backed one of the independents.
Greg, I never. Yeah. When we talked about the spoiled vote, we need to be mindful that Jim Gavin's votes wasn't spoiled.
Yeah, but I want to speak specifically about
that was coordinated from within the party, getting their members to vote Jim Gavin so they would get back their €200,000.
Yeah. Okay, and I want to dig in specifically with the spoiled votes because that is a very significant amount of people. Was there not a diktat or some advice that came down to local councils for Fianna Fáil? There was no whip as such, but that you have got your candidates and that's who we're going with.
Well, the councils across the country can speak for themselves, but I know there's no doubt that actually one of the dependents that got two of the councils got there with the support of Fianna Fáil councillors. Absolutely no dictate in relation to Fianna Fáil.
And I will say, I do know that Fianna Fáil would have facilitated the council to meet. I do know that. I'm not backing Fianna Fáil, but I have to be fair. Fianna Fáil would have facilitated a meeting to consider other candidates in Donegal.
Absolutely.
I know that as a fact.
But
right.
Perception is everything. Perception is everything, Greg. Perception is everything. And for the public, the ordinary public out there, they say, here we are. This is the candidates coming from major parties. Sink or swim. That's it. And nothing else really matters.
Where is
here.
Simon Harris in all of this? I wonder, because he hasn't spoken a word in God knows how long. It was he that sort of actually did block Fine Gael councillors from endorsing. Where is Simon Harris? Have you seen or heard of him, Christy?
Well, he's gone into. I don't know where Simon Harris is. He has made very little comment since this happened. And I think Fine Gael have to reflect themselves on the candidate, because no harm to Heather Humphreys. I don't think she was a great orator like Jim Gavin, had difficulties in relation to it. Heather kind of focused on the barrister type thing in relation to blackberry possessions and all of that. And that was shot down, as I say, by Jim Callahan. I think it's very hard to know, but I know that there's a very large cohort of people in the public out there that are very tired and fed up with the political parties as is at the present moment.
Let's talk about that in more detail after the break, but are you surprised at the seeming absence of Simon Harris now?
Well, I suppose they had their own difficulties after that vote as well, but I'm more interested in my own. But I would like to come back to the symbolism in relation to the presidency.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
And what that for me, what it means, and for me, I suppose the person that outlined the symbolism to its I suppose utmost ability was Mary McAleese, and particularly what her and her husband done during the presidency in relation to the peace process, how much time they spent in Northern Ireland building relations, and I suppose that has been Ireland's strength over the years, political wise, and the presidency, is building relations across the world. And I suppose never was that more missing in relation to building the relations across the world than during Michael D's presidency, because he barely left the Iras internationally, never mind Northern Ireland. When it came to the 100-year anniversary of Northern Ireland, he failed to go up there and complain then about people not recognising him as the president for all Ireland. I think we need a president now that changes that. I hope Kevin Connolly is that president.
Eileen, do you agree with Senator
Can I
Brennan?
just say, I thought Michael D. Higgins, like many of your listeners, did us proud as a country. We don't need a bully. We don't need a bully to lead, to represent us at an international level. Let's not forget, Greg, that Catherine Connolly got over 65% of the vote here in Donegal. And even though earlier Niall said that people in Donegal want to vote Maria Steins, that's brilliant. But if you look at the number that came out for Catherine Connolly, she got the highest vote in the presidential election in the history of the state. And I know with all my heart and soul that Catherine Connolly will do an absolutely brilliant job as our president. And even we look at Mary McAleese, Mary Robinson, Michael D. Higgins, and no better person to follow on those footsteps, and probably even do it better than Catherine Connolly. And to be fair to TD's activists in Donegal, Thomas Pringle, Jimmy Brogan, a lot of independents got behind Catherine, as well as Sinn Féin and other leaders.
100%
and people are
redress
saying
were also behind her.
And redress, of course.
Yeah.
And just one thing, Greg, before we move on from this, and I think it's really important, Christy, you said it earlier, is that Catherine Connolly is an independent. She got support, and I can tell you, Greg, as a person who ran into Shannon and know how difficult it is to get cross-party support, that takes a unique person. This is not the left uniting. This was Catherine Connolly bringing people together and bringing the different political leaders together, and we have to give her credit for that.
Okay, we'll grab a cup of coffee. We'll be back with the final segment of the show in about 4 minutes.
Here, would you look at Eco Ende? He's only after going and getting himself one of the new Skoda EVs.
First he went vegan, then he got solar panels, now this.
I'm sure he'd buy anything as long as he can get a grant for it.
Must be from that county beside Monaghan.
The new fully electric Skoda range. The kind of cars that get the neighbours talking. But only if you're quick. Check availability at skoda.ie. Skoda. Let's explore.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721396.
PTSB has Ireland's lowest rate for personal loans, from 25 to 75,000 euro. So from new wheels to home renovations, we're here for your next highlight. Apply today at ptsb.ie. PTSB, altogether more human. Lowest rate source ccpc.ie, 18 September 2025, excluding green loans. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply, subject to affordability assessment. Security may be required. Over 18s only. Warning, if you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit, a hire purchase agreement, a consumer hire agreement, or a BNPL agreement in the future. Permanent TSB PLC trading as PTSB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
I need somebody to love.
Big deals are now on at Dreams. I bet you beds are excited.
Oh yeah, we're bouncing.
Until Tuesday, save 20% off all bed frames when bought with a mattress.
But don't hang about. You snooze, you lose.
Dreams. Let us find you a bed that loves you back.
Enjoy locked-in prices all winter long with the Energy Winter Price Freeze. That means no price increases, so your bills remain straightforward, reliable and predictable. Switch to Energy today and save up to €958 a year on dual fuel. Energy, you just know. Price fees until 1st of March 2026. Energy discount variable electricity rate EAB €1398. Discount variable gas rate €1174. For T's and C's, rates and savings calculations, see unoenergy.ie. Suppliers pricing may change.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballyshannon should attend the clinic in Colóiste Columkill in Ballyshannon on Monday 3rd of November. Donors from Killybegs should attend the clinic in St Catherine's School in Killybegs on Tuesday 4th. And donors from Donegal Town should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town on Wednesday 5th and Thursday 6th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit GiveBlood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
This Saturday, the 1st of November, the Highland Radio Country Music Weekend continues at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Enjoy a brilliant night of music and dancing with Jordan McPaulin, Stacey Breen and Michael English and his band. A few Saturday night only packages remain. €249 for one night for two people, bed and breakfast plus 2 tickets, or you can pay at the door. Get there early, it's going to be a sellout. More info at clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com.
Donegal Tile Centre's mega Halloween sale is now on, with huge discounts throughout the store. There's wall and floor tiles from as little as €7.95 a square yard. Freestanding baths reduced to €799. Vanity units and basin from €180. And massive reductions of mirrors and accessories. Make your way to Rossview Business Park, Letterkenny, just off the Polestar roundabout, and pick up a real bargain.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing. Keep celebrating. Keep laughing. Keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
With the phasing out of R32 refrigerant and heat pumps, discover next generation comfort with the new award-winning Grant Airona R290 heat pump, delivering exceptional performance with quiet operation. The Grant Airona R290, heating for the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
Today will start off cloudy and wet for most. The rain quickly spreading northeastwards. The rain will clear most areas by early afternoon and be followed by sunny spells. So the 213,738 spoiled ballots. And I want to bring in another topic, so we'll just go round the panel in relation to this. Obviously, I'm not going to stifle conversation. Who are these people, in your view, Senator Flynn, because you know I know you're politically close to Thomas Pringle, and he received some criticism during our coverage from the Aura, where he sort of almost grouped those people, the 6,000 in Donegal, as far right, if you know what I mean. I don't want to all right wing. Which I did challenge him on it because I don't see it the same way. What do you say, or who are the 214,000 people who spoiled their votes, not including those that voted for Jim Gavin for whatever reason?
Yeah, I wouldn't include those voting for Jim Gavin because, to the best of my knowledge, that was coordinated and people, members of Fianna Fáil, were trying to get back the money. However, moving on to the spoiled votes, I know a lot of people, Greg, and we seen it in America as well with Donald Trump, build a wall, make America great again, you know, and like there is a percentage of those 6,000 votes, of course, are far right, but also we have to be mindful of the ones who are not far right, are people who feel left out of society, not represented in society, people who feel their voices are not heard. And credit to Catherine Connolly, and of course I've got a great relationship with Catherine, and I have to say, even in her speech when she was elected president, she will be on the 11th of November, but the winning of the votes, Catherine did say that she'll try her best to be a voice for those people too.
And she will, but this was not as much a protest vote at Catherine Connolly, or
no.
It was this was almost like a referendum on how people think in terms of the other side of elected politics. So how do those people feel represented going forward? Because there's a huge swathe of the population, I believe, that either of the big three speak for them.
No. And you know what it is, like, if we look at the housing crisis, the health crisis, people on waiting lists to get seen, to get x-rays, like, these are all people. I know many single parents, and it's not pinpointing single parents, many members of the traveller community, many working class people that would feel that the government and parties are not representing them. And I got photos that day from even family members. A lot of them voted for Catherine Connolly. A lot of people in Ballyfermot, Cherry Archer, spiked their vote, like the 6,000 here in Donegal, and they're not far right. These people are not far right. They wouldn't even they were never involved in politics, only that they don't feel represented. And we have to take that into consideration.
But we have to also address why they don't feel represented. And if you look at a sample of the polls, a lot of them are unhappy with the immigration policy in this country. And the pressure that it's putting on some of the things you mentioned, housing, health, etc. There are lots and lots of people that aren't racist, they're not far right, but they're very uncomfortable with current policies in terms of immigration.
But like before we had the mass refugee crisis across Europe, Greg, we've had a homeless crisis in this country, and a health crisis. I remember actually the health crisis in 2000 when Bertie Ahern was the leader of Fianna Fáil, and I remember my mother was waiting in a waiting area in A&E for 2 days, where she ended up then passing away. You know, so I just think it's really, like, I can remember those crises, even though I'm
I understand, but just in the most basic terms, if you've got one house and two people need that house, that's a housing crisis. But if you bring in another two people, so four people need that one house, you're exacerbating the housing crisis. And then in the most basic terms, that's what probably people view our current immigration policy as.
I understand that it's us against them, and that's what the government actually want as well. Do you know what I mean? Divide and conquer. If we go to Letterkenny Hospital, if I'm arguing about the importance of having migrants, if you go to Letterkenny Hospital, the majority of our health workers are people who are not from Ireland.
They're all on work visas and what have you. You see, we don't want to go into the space where we're conflating concerns about immigration with racism or the colour of a person's skin.
Yeah. Okay. I think as well, like, you have to look at the asylum seekers, refugees, and immigration too. They're three completely sets of people, you know, and I think it's really important. Like, we seen the piece of legislation in the Justice Committee about 3 weeks ago, and basically it was organisations in, and basically what the government are looking to do is hurry up the process, but not to end direct provision, not to, like, you have to understand as well, if people like it or not, there's some people that come to this country out of fear of their government, in wars, because of their sexuality, and we have an obligation.
And I do understand that. I do understand that, and that is undeniable. But when you see large swathes of urban areas being populated by predominantly young men, that is also something that needs to be looked at and addressed, because it does concern the broader population, Eileen. Not for a second saying that they might not be fleeing persecution or what have you, but this is what people are concerned about. It's changing significantly communities.
And I think when Thomas Pringle spoke on your show, Greg, when he said that the far right, we need to be mindful as well of other human beings, and we need to be mindful that a percentage of these spoiled votes are far right. These are people that would want a woman's place in the kitchen, that don't believe in LGBTQI plus rights, that see travellers
it just feels it just feels a little bit like, Senator, as soon as I sort of tried to drill into the crux of some of the arguments, that we went back to the far right narrative rather than addressing the centre, maybe right leaning. They probably don't even know left or right. Anyway, I'll come back.
Can I ask you a question, Greg?
Yes.
If 4 people were going to a house, which one do you think was more important?
I would say that you would factor in who's waiting the longest. You would factor in their greatest need.
Yes, of course, and that's exactly what the council does, Greg.
I certainly wouldn't give some of them €600 or €700 and not the other 3, because I think that would be unfair. If you want me to go on, I can.
That's all perception, Greg. I think everybody needs to do their research on refugees and migrants as well. As you said rightly, there's many people here on working visas that's keeping our health system together.
The majority of people coming into this country are coming here on work visas because we need them. That is a copper iron fact. Christy Galligan.
But going back to your original question, Greg, in relation to the spoiled votes. A lot of people were very disenfranchised, felt disenfranchised, and do feel disenfranchised from what happens in Dublin 4. And we have to get to the reality that there is a lot of issues out there at the present moment in time, and they're being well aired by you and many others, commentators, and Eileen there at the present moment, in relation to health, housing, and other matters that concern people, and immigration as well. And those spoiled votes cut right across a whole segment of society. We have to accept that. And people are entitled to do what they want to do with their votes. But that vote and that spoiled vote, it should be addressed by the main political parties, all parties actually, and say, right, what can we do that this protest vote by people won't happen again.
I'll tell you, see, the reason why, if you don't have a proper conversation about it, what you do is you have a vacuum, and that vacuum is filled by the very same people you're trying to label everybody as. That's what's happened in the United States. That's what's happening in Britain. That's what Eileen, if 50% of the population don't feel represented, they will find someone that represents them.
But like, if your child doesn't get a place in school because they have a disability, or they might have to travel maybe to the next town, of course you won't feel represented. I actually think, Greg, the government has a lot to answer to here when it even comes to migration, when it comes to refugees in this country. And I think it's really fair that we have to trust the county council, as you said earlier. And I think that's the process of the county, of every county council, is that they go with the family that's on the waiting list the longest, the family that needs the house the most. And I think, like, you pinned that down for listeners, and I think it's really important that we don't label everybody as far right, because I know many members of my family would not be politically engaged, if you want. They don't feel represented by the government, and that's unfortunate. But we have to listen to these people.
course,
We have to give them an alternative, and I don't know what that alternative is, Greg.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that I don't want bullies, any more bullies. We've enough bullies. We've enough of bullies in Leinster House that's anti-traveller, anti-immigrants, etc.
Yeah.
And we need to be very mindful when we're talking about the far right. And I don't mean to shut anybody down, but I am saying what you said earlier. The council does work fairly, and we need to break down the narrative that we're given to one to take away from the other. That's not the case.
Right, and we have to have the conversation now. I'll have to limit you to a minute if that's okay. Sorry about this.
Yeah, that's fine. First of all, I referred to it earlier as talking about the president and the terms of bullying. I don't want and never wanted a president that's a bully. I suppose in relation to your question, Greg, I suppose the two senior parties had a bad day out the day of the election, and Christie's probably right when he said about the perception. The perception was out there that the two parties were blocking candidates as well. It's very easy to add to perceptions when the two main parties are in a bad place, and there's a reality to that. There's many lessons to be learned, but moreover, leadership, I suppose, none of us are anti-immigration, but some of us were pointing out over a year ago at the last election in relation to immigration and the illegal immigration. It's the illegal immigration that's really troubling us here in Ireland, and we're not dealing with that. And now the Taoiseach and Taoiseach are talking about it. We should have got here before now.
Okay. Niall Blaney, thank you so much for calling in to us. Senator Eileen Flynn, it's always a pleasure. I really do enjoy you coming on the show. Thanks so much for your time, and have a wonderful weekend, you and your family.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks so much, Niall and Christy. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. And
Thanks,
Christy
Danny.
Galligan, thank you so very much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
All right, take care. We'll be back with more after the news and obituary notices.
I had problems with my knees for about 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the cost.
Republic of Ireland residents can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
Got a hidden leak? AMG Leak Detection provides a professional plumbing service throughout Donegal and surrounding areas. Using the latest technology, we find and fix leaks quickly. No mess, no hassle. From pipes to drains, we're here to save you time and money. Don't wait for costly damage. Call AMG Leak Detection today on 086 236 2774 for a leak-free home. AMG Leak Detection. Detect, repair, protect.
When it's gone, it's gone. This week's new Wigging at Home Store and More. All cookware sets are all half price. But better hurry, because when all our half-price cookware sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all baking trays and tins are still all half price. But when our baking trays and tins and loose cutlery and cutlery sets Wiggings are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Donegal Senator Niall Blaney believes it's time Micheál Martin resigned as Fianna Fáil leader. Senator Blaney says last weekend's presidential election was a wake-up call. The party's candidate, Jim Gavin, dropped out of the race after it emerged he owed a former tenant thousands of euro, which he has since repaid. A number of Fianna Fáil backbenchers have expressed their frustration in recent days. Well, Senator Blaney says that's causing damage to the party.
I just feel the last couple of weeks has been a dreadful time for the Fianna Fáil party. Just tearing apart of each other is not a good way to go. And for the sake of the party, I think the right thing for him to do is to name a date when he still has control. Because I think the longer this goes on, the more he's undermining himself.
Well, Senator Blaney was speaking on this morning's 9 till noon show, and on the same programme, Senator Eileen Flynn asked if there was more to the withdrawal of Jim Gavin than the issue of an overpayment of rent, which, at the time, he didn't pay back.
My gut says there's something bigger going on. Fianna Fáil couldn't have lost over €200,000 in a campaign, all at the cost of €3,000 for the candidate that they put forward. So, you know, I've a lot of questions. I every day reading, seeing is there any other stories coming up, and people is asking that question. Why did Jim Gavin drop out over like €3,700?
A cross-border policing operation was conducted yesterday in the Calais area. Police and Gardaí were focusing on road safety, drugs and border-related crime. Police say forces on both sides are working together to ensure that people are kept safe. DJ Carey has arrived in court ahead of his sentencing hearing today. It was adjourned earlier in the week. The former Kilkenny hurler has pleaded guilty to 10 charges of deception after lying about having cancer and asking people for money for treatment. His victims will be given an opportunity to address the court today. Courts correspondent Frank Graney says proceedings didn't go ahead on Wednesday because the court heard that DJ Carey was in hospital.
Some doubts, though, about his whereabouts were raised when the prosecuting barrister said he'd been informed that Mr. Carey was not an inpatient at the hospital. Inquiries were made, and on the back of those it emerged that while he had presented at the hospital's emergency department on Monday, he wasn't kept in. However, a nurse confirmed to the defence that he was in the hospital again on Wednesday, waiting to see a consultant.
Bonfires are a common part of Halloween celebrations, but fire services are warning they can quickly become dangerous. Sparks and flames from bonfires, they say, can easily spread, particularly in windy conditions. People are being urged not to light bonfires tonight and to report any unsafe fires immediately. Donegal County Council is being urged to review roadworks recently completed in Convoy. €95,000 was spent carrying out works outside the local national school and nearby estates. However, exiting and entering town parks in particular is said to be hazardous for both motorists and pedestrians. Councillor Gary Doherty fears the way traffic is being forced to manoeuvre will result in a crash unless action is taken.
This is now presenting a hazard to motorists and pedestrians alike, and I've requested that Donegal County Council would examine the works that were done at this location and rectify this issue now before there is a collision. I think residents in the area have a right to raise concerns where they feel that something has been done wrong. And in this case, I feel that their concerns are justified and they warrant a suitable response from Donegal County Council. Now is the time to fix it rather than waiting until further down the line when something actually does happen at this location.
A new vape tax takes effect from tomorrow. The fee was announced in last year's budget, but up until now it's run into delays. An extra 50 cent is being added to every millilitre of e-liquid, excluding VAT. Vape refills will see more extreme price increases compared to a standard disposable vape. And the state has now cut all ownership ties with AIB. The bank announced this morning it's paid the government €390 million for options which would have amounted to 13% of the bank. The warrants were handed to the Finance Minister at the time of AIB's initial public offering in 2017. Business reporter Tom McEnany says there will be an overall loss of money from the deal.
The total amount of return to the state from AIB was €20.2 billion, which is only slightly less than the €20.8 billion that the state invested to bail out AIB. But this does not take into account the cost of servicing the debt used for the bailout, which Controller and Auditor General estimated at over €7 billion.
Weather forecast: rain clearing from most areas by early afternoon, followed by sunny spells and some showers. Top temperatures this afternoon 11 to 14 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news again at 11 o'clock. In the interim, check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Friday morning, October the 31st. The death has taken place of Daniel Donaghy, 65, Cockhill Park, Buncrana. His remains will be reposing at Murphy's Funeral Home, Roxtown, Tubinburnfoot, today from 3 o'clock to 5:30. Removal from there this evening at 6:15, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for 6:15 to repose overnight. Requiem Mass there tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Medical 2, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member or Blaine McCarran, Kelly's funeral directors. The death has taken place of Kathleen K. McDermott, Leitrim, Glenealy. Kathleen's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there on Sunday morning at 9:15 for 10 o'clock funeral mass in St Mary's Church, Boken, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed live on kildaffparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Friends of Inishowen Hospice, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has occurred of Audrey Gilchrist, née Baskin, Tully Morning, Donegal Town, reposing at her late residence today from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock and tomorrow from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Funeral service in Donegal Presbyterian Church at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, followed by burial in Glebe Cemetery. House private on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, donations in lieu if so desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of George Irwin, funeral directors or any family member. The death has taken place of Noel McGuigan, 12 Beechwood Road, Letterkenny, and formerly from Pluck. Noel's remains will be reposing at 15 Derryveigh Avenue, Letterkenny, today from 12 noon until 10 o'clock, with rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:30, going to St Junan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, for 10 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in St Columba's Church Cemetery, Dromahul. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has occurred of William Vance, formerly of Brentwood Manor Nursing Home Convoy, and Gortree, Newton Cunningham. Funeral service in Terence McClintock's Funeral Home, Ballyboat Convoy, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, followed by burial in All Saints Church of Ireland Graveyard, Newton Cunningham. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Brentwood Manor Patients Comfort Fund, care of Terence McClintock, funeral director. And the death has taken place of Dickie Kern, Bomini, Letterkenny, reposing at his late residence. Rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral mass tomorrow at 12 noon in St Junan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in the family plot in Cornwall Cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of Con McDade, funeral directors or any family member. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Ladies, always discreet, has something to say. If your bladder leaks or not, always remember to squeeze a day. Keep your pelvic floor stronger for longer just by squeezing on through the day. Just lift and hold, just lift and hold to always squeeze the day. When you need protection, come what may, always discreet will lock those leaks away.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
Thank you very much to Senator Eileen Flynn, Senator Niall Blaney and Christy Galligan. We've had a great reaction, as always, and by great I mean in terms of numbers, so that's very much appreciated. Fair play to Senator Flynn, showing more loyalty to Micheál Martin than a minority in Fianna Fáil waiting in the long grass to remove him. Yes, he made a dog's dinner of a third-tier election, but most Fianna Fáilers realise that he's still the best within their ranks to lead them. He's built their representation up from 20 to 48, almost 150% increase, and has been the most popular of all leaders in most polls until now. Not sure if he wants to fight a fifth general election when he will be 69. Ask Eileen Flynn about the 10-year-old who was raped by someone who wasn't supposed to be here. Spoiled my vote. Proud of it. Not racist or far right, of course. And as I said earlier on, open up your newspapers, look at the court reports. I want people to not turn on, but to be aghast by anyone who is abusing, assaulting our children now or historically, not just if they're supposed to be here or not, or where they're from. There seems to be sort of no commentary at all about the huge rate of child sexual abuse images being shared around the country. I would really, really love people who are very interested, and rightly so, in instances involving children to be as angry right across the board. Call out their friends or whatever they might do as well, because so much of it's going on. Yes, there's a small percentage by people who have been deported and shouldn't be here, But right across the board, check out the websites, check out the newspapers. It's every single day, and all children are so important. My daughter and my grandson, both highly educated, went to the polling station with the intention of voting, but in there, they just couldn't vote for either candidate, and they spoiled their votes. Tell Senator Flynn far too many are coming into the country but don't want to work here just to get all the benefits. Niall Blaney, the whole country knows the presidential election was a joke. I think the presidential election, whether it was about electing the president or not, which of course is what it's about, I thought it was a very important election in terms of politics, generally speaking, the direction of this country, where we might be going. It was, of course, about electing Catherine Connolly, president-elect, and we wish her all the success. And I do think she will actually be recorded in history as a good president. But it became greater than that. It had more meaning than that as well. So I don't think it can or should be ignored. Good morning, Greg, says a listener. I'm disappointed with the amount of spoiled votes that were ruined in the presidential election. How very childish of them voters. As a nation, we've had to fight for our votes because of religion, property, gender and age. I, as an Irish citizen, respect my democratic right to vote, and, as I said, I'm disappointed and disgusted with the amount of spoiled votes. That comes in from Rosaline. But Rosaline, people who spoiled their votes believe they were exercising their democratic right. They didn't feel there was someone to vote for. They wanted their voice heard and democratically went in because that fight for democracy was one for them too. They did vote. I mean, they didn't vote for someone that's on the ballot, but they voted. But I respect your opinion greatly as well. And for many people, you are correct. The only reason Connolly got the highest votes ever is because there was only two in the race, where in another election you would have more candidates. So in very, very simple English, people had no other person to elect, as Humphreys was not for everyone. And this person, they bring in her connections to the Orange Order, which I would have thought would have been advantageous, but maybe I'm naive. Did Niall get a knock on the head taking down all them Jim Gavin posters? A simple Google search will tell you all the state and official visits attended or hosted by Michael D. Higgins, including the first ever state visit to the UK. Regarding spoiled votes, the increase can be attributed to people who do what Twitter tells them to. There's more than, I'm not sure what the daily Twitter usage is, but I suppose what you're saying is social media. I'm not going, okay, I get where you're coming from. Only having two options to vote will annoy those unrepresented. Just more candidates next time. Most were delighted with Connolly, and more coming in. Councillor Paul Canning, the Keirlock of Donegal County Council, says they were willing to meet potential candidates for the presidential election, but I needed 5 independents to come forward and I couldn't get 5. And I did say this in fairness, that Fianna Fáil were prepared to facilitate that meeting, and as Fianna Fáil's Paul Canning pointed out, that was the case. I believe at one point there were 5 and then there were 4. Does the panel agree with the Laois Fine Gael councillor that those who spoiled their vote shouldn't be entitled to state benefits? I didn't hear that. Re-presidential election, Maria Steen is seeking nominations, went by both routes with county councils and the Oireachtas and was turned down by both. She also contacted our own Donegal County Council, who shamefully refused her a hearing. Donegal County Council have become very woke this past few years. Why is that? What happened? A complete shambles, a complete mess. Another, what does Niall think about Micheál Martin and Simon Harris's turnaround on immigration? He actually did reference that. Voted Fianna Fáil all my life, says the listener, but never again will I vote for them at a national level. On the issue of asylum, both Micheál Martin and Simon Harris stated yesterday that up to 80% of asylum seekers in IPAS centres are not genuine. So will they take action now and deport them? Asked the panel, Greg. That came in a little bit late there. It's about the deportation system. Asking people to deport themselves is a big ask, isn't it? And that seems to be the case at the moment. Yes, there's been a couple of chartered flights which the press were invited to. They had a photographer there to take the pictures. The pictures were out from the from various state bodies within minutes of them being deported. But that was just to say, look, we're doing something. It's not in a number that's going to please most. Right. Thanks very much for all of your comments coming in so far. Keep them coming in. The conversation doesn't stop there. Loads to come in the next wee while. But first, let's take a break to allow you to play the bingo today. Good luck.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 31st of October. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €600. The reference number is S20. It's game number 44. The numbers are 24, 30, 43, 62, 90, 34, 8, 63, 40, and finally 21. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Halliford. From garden furniture to kitchens, sofas and dining sets, all under one roof. Need a new mattress? Why not visit our sleep centre on the first floor, with a large range of quality beds and mattresses in stock and ready for collection or delivery. Relax in our coffee shop, serving hot lunches daily. Open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Halliford.
Major hike in Surrey storage required. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we analyse how much proposed new Surrey storage rules will cost farmers. Nitrates changes for tillage farmers revealed. Sucker income set to exceed €20,000. Plus, should you register your farm as a company for tax purposes? Get these stories and more straight to your doorstep with an Irish Farmers Journal home delivery subscription. Sign up today for a free pair of Dunlop wellies worth €88. Visit ifj.ie/radio.
You'll get a fright when you hear the scarily good Halloween deal from Mace. Drop into your local Mace store and pick up a Cadbury Dairy Milk Caramel Nibbles sharing pouch for only €2. That's a Cadbury Dairy Milk Caramel Nibbles sharing pouch for only €2. Have a spooktacular Halloween from everyone at Mace. Mace, going the extra smile.
Rulabula.
Offer available 28th to 31st of October in participating stores while stocks last.
Good to hear. Rulabula on Highland Radio every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Its presenter is Colin Ferter. Imagine why, Colin.
Imagine why.
Congratulations to you.
Oh, thanks a lot, Craig. Means
because
a lot.
this week you won Clárgelga na Blania.
Na Bliana, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we're working through this. And is that the award or is that the category or what?
The category was the top programme at Skellige on commercial radio. So you'd have all the local stations, and News Talk were on the shortlist this year as well. And I'm delighted. It's the station now that got nominated, and rightly so, because it's a team effort.
Let's hold on a second, right? Let's stuff the grace for a moment.
No. Honestly, I couldn't stand in a field and broadcast without, you need infrastructure and you need the team effort there.
Of course
Canis there helps me, and Joe Dex and Oshin and Caroline's in touch with me a few times.
Talk to me about the show, the what you wanted it to be, what it's become, in your words.
Yeah. Well, I wanted my programme to be kind of on the same level as anything on the radio. And I set out principles to that end. Not when I started out at first, because I was a total greenhorn in the industry and I had no experience. My Irish wouldn't have been that strong either. Like, I'm conversant now, I'd enough to get by at this stage, But so I, at the start, it was a very steep learning curve. I had to get kind of conversant with the architecture, and be able to use the desk and all the rest of it. But, after a while then, Linda had a more of a vision because she said, I remember 14 years ago when I came in here first, she said that she'd like to develop the programme and so on and so forth. And but as a principle, I kind of make sure that it's live, that there's somebody in live every week to create atmosphere. And I have a platform. I feel privileged because there's a platform here that I can use for people to showcase their talents, to speak the couple of focal and to show that it's a living language and that it's accessible to everybody.
But you're not snooty about it. I mean, there's sometimes a mix of those that can, those that are trying, those that can't. It's inclusive in that regard. I mean, obviously, fundamentally, it's an Irish language programme, but you're not snooty about it.
Exactly. That's the whole point of it. It's a broad church. everybody starts somewhere. I mean, 20 years ago, had you told me I would be sitting here talking about a national award that I got for broadcasting that Gaelic, I would have thought you were off your rocker.
Because of the standard of Irish, putting the radio side of it to one side?
How so?
Your standard of Irish at that point?
My standard of Irish, I mean, I wouldn't have walked into the studio for $1 million. You know, I would have been too nervous. I wouldn't have had any experience at all with
but does that not give you then an authentic understanding then, if you are about promoting the language and taking people with you, right? There's an authenticity to that because you've been on your own journey yourself.
I would have fallen into this by accident. I don't see myself as a language activist at all. It's a huge bonus maybe that there's that aspect to it, that it's nuanced, there's something different involved, that there's a kind of it's not even a minority now, I wouldn't say. Like, there's such a growth in the Irish language, and even according to the census figures, there's up to 50% maybe that say that they can have a conversation at some level. So I'm quite proud of it. Obviously, I'm very proud of it that it's what it's achieved and that it's taken off. But it comes back to the vision. I think there are two aspects there. There's the vision, and Linda had the vision, in fairness to her.
Linda McGraw is the head of programming, by the way, just for those who wouldn't know, but go ahead.
Yeah. And then there's a creativity, but there's no creativity without vision, and the vision comes first. And once that's put into place, then the jigsaw kind of comes together. But there'd be no programme without people who are willing to come in, spend their evening in here, getting ready, preparing stuff, making sure that they're able to. They have an authority over what they're going to do on the show. There's so many teachers that come in after work and with schools, and
it's amazing what they do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's voluntary work, and they're in teacher mode there. Like, there's aspects of the job and the role that I understand there in terms of getting kids ready and making sure they're in straight lines and all the rest of it. So, but anybody that comes in here, they're doing it voluntarily, and hats off to them. But there's a huge groundswell there for the Irish language, and people love it. They understand it. I think the heritage in Donegal comes into play as well. You had Shawnee down from Falcara, and
Shawnee O'Brien.
Yeah, and Paula, they won an award, Paula Harvey, last week for the. So people understand heritage in Donegal, and they want to be part of it, and the language definitely comes.
I think there's a
umbrella.
great appetite too amongst young people, and then I think it becomes our responsibility to try and harness that, or to encourage it, or bring it through into their adulthood.
Yeah, but you find that there's more, in your dealings with people and guests, would you find that there's much of a groundswell now? Or there's much interest in the Irish?
I think most people that come in here would have a love of the language and have some of the language, which is why I'm going to try and learn at some point.
Oh, you'd have a smattering anyway, would you not?
Bits and bobs, but yourself. I would like to. When I do this job, one of the things that I see as a personal failure is not being able to facilitate. Now, you obviously have to be inclusive, so you couldn't do the whole show in Irish or what have you. And this is where Radio na Gaeltacht, they do a fantastic job in that space as well. And I do know there's people switch between the two, right? But I just think I would be more fulfilled. I don't even know I have the time for it now to sort of do it before I stop doing radio or whatever happens. But I would love to have at least spent part of my career to be able to actually facilitate Irish on this A Current Affairs show. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. Whenever I try to interview anybody in English, I find it difficult, to be honest with you. I'm also being nervous of coming in and as a presenting a show as Gaelic in my second langue.
Is it your second language?
It is,
definitively, yeah.
I wouldn't have had any Irish now.
In terms of the programme itself, I don't know if we ever discussed doing it live, pre-recorded. There's something about live radio I think it's very hard to match. I like the organised chaos of it. Like when there's 100 people in here, that's when I love it. Do you know what I mean? The more there's in here, the better. As far as I'm concerned, it's always been my sort of philosophy. I don't do scripts. I prep what I need to prep, but I like what's coming next. To be a bit of a surprise.
Well, that's it. Yeah, Carol
Organised
Pilkington.
chaos.
Ricky Gervais had a rule that he would never meet Carol Pilkington during the week. He would only meet him the day of the show and see what came out.
Well,
then,
people are weird because I won't speak during ad breaks. So, because you something interesting might be said and it's very hard to revisit it. So if someone comes in, I'll pass the time of day, right? But I don't want to talk about what we're going to talk about.
You can't replicate it.
No.
You can't. You're
because
pretending to laugh
replicate
then, and then that comes across as well, yeah.
So take us to awards night then. It was in Belfast, was it?
It was in Belfast in City Hall. It was a peculiar event because there's a kind of a juxtaposition between what is a kind of a shrine to the Empire, the British Empire, and then we were all in speaking Irish, and there was Irish music going. Catherine Connolly was there. Jerry Adams was there. There were all kinds of dignitaries. Dara Calleary, the Aristach and Gaeltacht, he was there. And, it's a broad church though, and it's inclusive, as is my programme. And, there was a cross-section of people there. I went down on the Wednesday evening. I was dreading it, to be honest with you, because, it's not just a matter of parachuting in, like you have to get there and park.
Yeah.
And there were 2 accidents, and there was tailbacks, and we didn't get stopping for somebody who was hungry. And then you're thinking, if I don't get picked, I'm going to be
Be a long journey home.
It's going to be boring. Yeah. If I do get picked, I'm going to have to get up and speak in front of all these people, and that's kind of stressful. So it's between boring and stressful. Yeah. But a certain amount of euphoria, that's well worn off. Well, it's wearing off now as I prepare next week's programme.
I know what you mean. It's nice though, and what we do here is for all our own reasons. You don't do it for money as such. There's an opportunity here. I don't do it for any ego or what have you. Obviously I have to pay the bills and stuff, but I do it because I want to do it, and I think we have a role, an important role as part of the community, as well as being a business and listeners, that sort of way.
Yep.
But I mean, Oisín, obviously he got Sports Person of the Year this year at the National Awards. Our election coverage received an award as well, and now you've picked this one up. We're kind of unassuming, but we've done all right, haven't we?
We've done great. We've done great. But the figures as well, it was 79% the last time I checked of the population listen daily. And that's everybody.
I know. And they don't switch off when they switch on, which is fantastic.
But it's mad. When you think of it, it's from babies to old people, and that's 4 out of every 5 are listening every day.
All right. So, what's on the show this week? Have you decided?
I'll be having some of the competitors from the competitions, like the Eurotas, but I'm keeping a close eye on the who's shaking it up in Belfast now this weekend, and that's it. There's nothing planned per se apart from that.
Excellent. So. But no one will know.
Yeah.
Listen, Colin, congratulations. It's a wonderful achievement, especially because you broadcast in the medium of Irish as well. So I think it's particularly special for us, but also through you and through your work with Linda, the head of programming and stuff.
Right, yeah.
So well done, and it's a lovely award as well.
It is a nice
bit
award.
Of class to it, isn't there?
Yeah, award. Tommy Rosney helps me every week.
Does
he? He's on the air every Wednesday, 8 until midnight. It's 4 hours, and he comes in an hour and a half early and helps me with set the thing up and Facebook
He's
Live.
technically good, isn't he?
Well, you know what?
He's all over it.
But he's at it so long. Like you listen, I listen to him because he knows the business, and he knows his own audience, and he knows how to engage with people, and
he's good. Tommy.
He is. But a word, special word for Tommy, because he's a massive help. He really is.
Well done. All right, thanks very much indeed. Maybe he might help you carry the chairs out at the end of the show.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
not the chairs.
Well,
today.
nobody brings the chairs in for me before the show.
No, Colin, that's not how it works.
And I got a wrap over milk as well. Somebody had.
You do whatever you want with milk, but just carry the blooming chairs out, because I'm doing it on a Thursday
morning.
And
who keeps changing the microphones around?
That's Monday night session. All right, listen, thanks very much,
Brilliant.
Colin. Congratulations
Cheers.
again.
Ah, I see your future. Smooth roads, silent drives. You're starting 2026 in style, behind the wheel of a brand new Kia. I see Kia EV3, all new EV4 and EV5, new EV6 and EV9, 0% finance available, free home charger, and a chance to win €10,000, exclusive to iMotors.
We can't predict the future, but we can help you build it. Your future looks electric. Terms and conditions apply. iMotors, the fearless generation.
When it comes to your retirement, our experts at Fairstone Letterkenny can help you make the most of your pension, secure your future, and plan for a comfortable retirement. Don't make any decisions until you've spoken to a qualified financial planner. Visit fairstone.ie or call our Letterkenny office today on 074 9124 and take the first step towards securing your financial future. John F. Lowy and Associates Limited, trading as Fairstone, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Pick up extra special offers this week at Dunnes Stores with selected wines like Dada Malbec or Connoisseur and Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc, €10 or less. And grab Deal 4 of our 12 Deals of Christmas with 18-pack cans of Club Orange, Pepsi Max and 7-Up Zero. Now just €9. Plus, save more with your 10/50 voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly. Deposit return scheme fees apply.
Why leave the magic moments and great scenes you've captured sitting on your phone when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using McGee's website or one of their in-store kiosks, you just upload your photos, select the ones you want and have them printed instantly within an hour, or use the 24-hour service. 35mm and film from disposable cameras also printed, and old photos can be digitally restored. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
It's the start of Highland Radio's Country Music Weekend this Friday, 31st of October at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Dance the night away with Patrick Feeney and his band, David James and his band. A limited number of Friday night only packages are still available. €249 for one night bed and breakfast for 2 people, plus 2 tickets. Or you can pay at the door for entry on the night. Don't miss it. Visit clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com.
Welcome. So, DLDC Business Showcase Week, which has been running all week, is a special event dedicated to recognising and promoting Donegal's newest businesses. Now, all week long, we've been putting the spotlight on the unique entrepreneurial spirit that thrives right here in Donegal in partnership with DLDC. And we've had an amazing mix of different businesses, and businesses in the early stages, but businesses that have been formed or are thriving, or both, due to the support of DLDC. And my 2 guests in studio with me today are Nicola Garvey. Hi, Nicola.
Hi, Craig.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having
me.
me.
Are we all relaxed? Are we chilled? Are we good?
Getting
We're just
there.
going to have a chit-chat?
Yeah,
Okay, good
lovely.
stuff. Eileen Sinclair's with us as well. Hi, Eileen. Hello. Lovely to have you with us. How are you keeping?
Good, thank you.
Thanks so much for chatting up and for calling up and having a chat to us. Nicola, can I start with you if that's all right, and tell us a little bit about your business?
So, hi, Craig. Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm Nicola Garvey, and I'm based over in Kilcar in southwest Donegal, and I run Tourist Carha, my wee tourism business, and I provide chauffeur-guided tours around southwest Donegal.
What a brilliant idea.
Thank you.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not great at organising things myself.
Mhm.
So sometimes it's nice to have someone to make sure you don't miss out. So
Yeah.
you will sort of find out from your clients what they want to see and sort of presume tailor, or do you have a set route and you have the usual hotspots, or what?
Yeah, well, no, not really. So basically, you can contact me by email, and usually we'll be emailing back and forward. So it's usually a bespoke tour that's organised. So I deal with a nice, relaxed tour around some of the places maybe that you wouldn't get to see in a bigger coach. So I operate small tours. I accommodate 8 people usually. So lots of families, friends, and multi-generational families usually take my tours. Yeah, so what happens is then I get a grasp of what they actually like to do on their tours. So it's a combination of
So you kind of get
nice
to know
scenery.
them first. And
Absolutely.
there's a relationship
Mhm.
formed there. So you
Yeah,
ensure that
it's
they
very
leave.
important, yeah.
Do you find then, how long have you been in business now?
So April this year I
Okay.
started out, yeah. So
theoretically then, Nicola, you know, you could have people that will revisit.
Absolutely.
They've established already that rapport with you. You know where they've been, and you can say, well, let's tease this out a little bit more.
Yeah. So yeah, that's great. So usually what happens is they book the tour, and usually the feedback afterwards of spending the day with me is, that they'll take my brochure and they'll pass it on when they
Lovely.
go home. So it's good, yeah. So I'm getting in tours for next year already are coming in. So delighted with that. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And in terms of, say, for instance, how they get into the region, so would you meet them at an airport, or do you wait till they arrive here, or does it depend on the client or what?
Yeah, Craig, that's part of my service as well. So I do transfers and I'll accommodate. So I'll pick if they're coming into Donegal Airport, Dublin, Belfast, Knock, anywhere.
Don't tell me you help them organise accommodation.
No,
Okay,
I
I was
actually
gonna say,
don't.
because
Yeah,
other than
but
getting on the
you
plane
never know.
and picking them up from their house, you wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, so
and you
that's
do it all in a Volkswagen Transporter. Does it have a name?
Cara.
I knew it was going to have a name.
I'm one of those people. Yeah. So Cara. So I decided I would give her a name, and she's my friend, and she's a
Yeah.
friend to everybody. So she's part of my journey and everybody's journey.
It all depends on the clients, but is there a wow moment that you've spotted on the tours, of the various places that you go to?
Yeah, there's so many,
Isn't
where we go, and it's all about the connections with the people as well, and the connections with place. So they love the natural scenery and stuff like that. But off the top of my head, I had two brothers that came back, and their great-grandfather was from Kilcar,
Right.
where I live. That was just a lovely moment, so it was. And I had a lady came back, she'd been here 40 years ago with her husband, and he'd passed away. So we spent the day. She booked me exclusively for 2 days.
So you were her travel buddy as much as anything?
Yeah, and that was lovely. And it was lovely to be part of that memory with her as well.
Yeah.
And she spoke about, her time when she was in Donegal with her late husband.
So that was, for her, a very important part of her life. It's
Absolutely.
almost like, I don't know what the correct phraseology is, but you see, and of course we focus an awful lot on, the sleeve leads and this, that and gone,
yeah,
right? But,
yeah.
if I were coming here I would love to be taken into our draw or something, and have a cup
yeah.
of tea, or, over those beautiful roads
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay, I'll come back to you. It's a wonderful business, Tourist Cartha, so if you want to spread the word out to people that are out there. Ear to ear, Eileen Sinclair. Talk to me a little about ear to ear.
Ear, yes.
Ear, sorry, why am I
Yeah.
putting two ear in there? It's not even written in front of me.
I know.
I was just thinking how I could lie beside somebody, ear to ear. Right, ear, ear.
Yeah,
Go on,
so,
Eileen.
hello, I'm Eileen. Hello, everybody. Hello, Greg. I retired last year from nursing, and I now run a mobile ear care service based in Donegal town. It's quite a specialist role, looking after people's ears. It means, checking ears, spotting for problems, and most often earwax removal.
Yeah, and
So-
do you go into people's homes, or do they come to you?
Yeah, I do. I go to people's homes that aren't able to come to clinics for any reason.
Which is actually fantastic, because our
Yeah.
hearing is one of our most important senses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if we've had full use of it all of our lives.
Yeah. Well, we're all used to getting our eyes checked and our teeth checked and our feet checked and our blood pressure checked, but sometimes, we don't think about our ears.
Yeah. So if you
And-
walked into my house and I had a cotton bud and I was jamming it into my ear, what would you do to
Oh
me?
gosh. Oh, that's
Up to and including violence.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happened. This is how I started this business. Is my daughter was on the couch and she had a camera in her ear, and oh gosh,
Compacted
I nearly
and all,
died,
is it? Right.
because the eardrum is so delicate.
Yeah.
And it's only an inch away from the outside of your ear. Well, most people, some people are closer, so. Oh, I just cringed when I saw it. So that gave me the idea.
But you've got so much experience in an education, it would have been awful if it was lost to retirement, because
I
you've
know,
studied
I
in
know.
Ireland and practiced in Ireland and studied in Britain as well, yeah?
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
to me a bit about your
Well,
background.
my last 10 years before I retired last September was I was an eye nurse in Sligo, ophthalmology. And the 10 years before that, I was a head and neck nurse in Alton-le-Gelvin.
But at what point, because I've not heard of people that do what you do, I'm not saying they don't exist, right?
No.
It doesn't really happen much. So
Yeah.
at what point did you think that, I mean, obviously there's a business element to it as well,
Yeah.
but also the fact that you can meet people that won't ordinarily interact with an audiologist. So when did you sort of think I might approach DLDC here and see if this is or what kind of a business model this is, or was that all clear to you already?
No, the idea prompted me with my daughter sitting on the sofa.
Oh, was that?
And then
yeah.
my 10 years experience in head and neck, and I was thinking of what could I do where I'd be a sole practitioner as a business, and it all just went from there. I did approach the LDC, Pauline Cannon, and I was on the Ambition programme as well, so they all helped me, the business end of things. For being a nurse, like for 50 years, you wouldn't be involved in business at all. Yeah. So I wouldn't have had a clue. So they were brilliant.
How long have you been doing this actively now, Eileen, in terms of ear?
Well, I did all my training about 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. I went over to London, and I did a microsuction earwax removal course. But I didn't want to stop there, because I thought, well, if I remove wax from somebody's ear and I look in their ear, and if I didn't know, there could be something in their ear that needs addressing. Yeah. And so I was nervous about that. So I went to Rotherham, to an ear care clinic in Rotherham, which is a centre of excellence for ear care. I went there and I did postgraduate higher diploma in ear health. Yeah. So that helps me with people when they come in to have their earwax removed. I can spot things that maybe would be out of the ordinary or shouldn't be
that
there.
Need maybe, by the way, I've done that. There might be something else to refer them effectively. Or ask them to go and chase it up. Yeah.
Say if I removed wax from somebody's ear, and behind that plug of wax was what looked like an infection, well, then the person would go to their GP and for a further assessment and specialist care.
If I'm correct, creating copious amounts of earwax can be a sign of good ear health, can't it? It's how we manage it that can be the problem.
It's how you manage it.
I mean, obviously, providing it's not sort of infection related, right?
Yeah. Well, our ears clean themselves, so we don't have to be poking about.
So when it starts to be visualised, it's been pushed out naturally. It's the ear working.
It's a migration process, and it pushes out itself. You're right. Yeah. And but
did
sometimes
you know that, Nicola?
No.
Yeah,
so much here. Fascinating.
It literally will.
Yeah.
That's it. Getting out of the ear.
Yeah.
So no poking around in your ears. Well, earwax is good. Everybody thinks their ears are dirty.
Yes.
If they say wax in their ears, they think it's dirty, but it's not dirty. It's good. Yeah. Wax is good.
And I don't obviously go on. We've got on the wax train. Come on,
yeah,
Ireland.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, it's okay.
We talk about everything here. So what else do you say about wax?
Well, wax is good, and it lubricates your ear, and it cleans your ear, and it also helps to prevent dust and
catches
mites
foreign bodies.
Foreign bodies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I obviously focused instantly on the hearing, but I suppose as well, maybe if it's an older person or not, balance is in there as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I was talking about your tours. A lady came to me who's a hiker, and she was up the hills one day. Well, she probably shouldn't have been up the hills on her own, but she was up the hills and she felt dizzy. Yeah. And when she came down off the mountain, then she rang me and looked at her ears, and yes, she did have wax. So the wax was removed, but that dizziness did disappear. Yeah, but it's not always about wax. Wax is just the first thing you think of, and take that away. But you might need to go to your GP or refer to your audiologist.
So it might have been the change in pressure in her ears and fluid.
Yeah.
And are you at the point yet in terms of the age of the business where that you're going back to people? So in other words, you're the in-house ear queen.
Yeah, I'm just getting my second time around people now.
Yeah, I was thinking.
But so until you get the person around the second time, you don't really know what their build-up is. So you don't know how often they need to come to you. So you generally say every year. But see, people that have hearing aids, they should be getting their ears checked for wax every 6 months.
Yeah,
and that's what I think.
Babies and toddlers and what have you?
No, I'm not paediatric trained.
No, that is a specific discipline.
I'm adults only. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
And how are you getting the message out there?
Well,
other than
the LDC and
like
the
this.
Ambition programme were great because I got mentorship in that for digital advertising, but I didn't really expand on it too good.
But it's a work in progress. We're new, right? Okay.
I'm kind of at a standstill, but
you'll be okay. Well, listen, you'll get a chase up now. Yeah. Nicola, How do you reach your clients? Because obviously, it's unlike. But I actually could see some internal tourism here, not actually just internal in the country, but also even in the county, Nicola. But I mean, I presume a lot of your trade will be foreign visitors, right?
Absolutely.
So how?
Yeah, so I have a website. I get a lot of referrals. And I have a website. It's www.touristcarha.ie. You can email me as well. So that's mainly how I get a lot of my my work comes in that way. Yes.
And it must be exciting now. Looking forward to your first full year.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm still busy. I'm organised a wee tour down to Newgrange now in the middle of November. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I've still a lot of work to do, in terms of adding to my itinerary and stuff like that, so I'm going to be kept busy. But yeah, super excited about the summer again and welcoming visitors.
And the whole idea, the whole success, and what everyone in the tourism is trying to do is to widen out those shoulders and have it all year round. Why not?
Yeah.
But obviously, people are more inclined to travel in certain months, but there is still people about.
Yeah. October now is busy for me. So
there
it
you go.
was September, October was very busy. So it was good. Yeah, I had a good summer. I done better than I thought I was going to do initially.
Is Cara going to get a little friend?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Okay, brilliant stuff. And Eileen, how can people contact Ear?
Well, they can text our phone, and that number is 087 494 5501, or Facebook on Ear.
And are you primarily in the Donegal town and hinterlands?
Yeah. But the thing is about my clinics, like my insurance covers me anywhere. Like I could do it in the top of Errigal, but it can be pop-up clinics anywhere. Say
I
a
can
health
just see
fair.
now Tourist Cartha driving you to the bottom of Errigal, and she'll wait.
Absolutely.
Right, okay. And in terms of specific inquiries, Eileen, that you might get saying in terms of tinnitus or tinnitus, I mean, there's a lot of causes and what have you. Will you go in and do your work and see if that relieves it, or do you see tinnitus in a separate space?
No, I don't do tinnitus at all. That would be very specialist for audiology or ENT. But sometimes when I do take out the wax, that buzzing in their ears can disappear.
Because it's...
and you let it settle for 48 hours, and if it doesn't, then they need to go further for treatment, because there's many reasons for tinnitus, and finding the reason, you can't really target the treatment unless you know what the reason is.
But I think sometimes too, because there's a little bit of uncertainty about its origins, you eliminate the obvious first, don't you?
Yeah.
So in other words, make sure your ears are clear and what have you, and then you can take it from there.
Yeah.
So these are two brilliant businesses supported by DLDC. Ear from Eileen. And what can you do to support a business? Well, you can go onto their social media and share that information out. It's a fantastic resource. As with Nicola, is it Garvey?
Garvey, yeah.
Garvey. I've got Gravy written in front of me, Nicola.
Gravy train?
Do you know?
It's Nicola Gravy you've written down.
Yeah.
But I bluffed it correct. Nicola Garvey. So again, too, spread the message out to your friends and family all over the world. And I love that story of for whatever her own personal reasons, that lady being able to spend the day with you and retrace old steps.
Absolutely.
Even in the absence
it was
of
a
the
very
person
special
she used
day.
she used to trape them with. Thanks so much, Nicola. Continued success.
Thank
Remind
you.
us once again of the socials.
So I'm on Facebook, Touristcara, Instagram, Touristcara, LinkedIn, and I've recently popped on there to TikTok. So I'm having a bit of fun there, so bear with me there. So
Right, okay.
just navigating that.
Eileen's a wee bit behind you now. I'm not sure Eileen's on TikTok yet, right? But she's on Facebook, right?
Yeah. I'll do a masterclass with you.
Yeah, right. I think you're a lost cause. But just mention Halloween tonight,
Go ahead.
just with the noises and the parties and the loud music, just for everybody to protect their ears, especially the little children's ears, and keep them warm. The ears don't like cold. So put their hats on, and just to stand back from the source of fireworks, because it can be very dangerous. And
And enjoy your earwax if it's just regularly normal, but clean it out correctly. And if you're down around wherever you are, check out Ear, and Eileen might be able to help you out there. I'm sure she will. Eileen and Nicola, the best of luck with your businesses
very
going
much
forward.
for having us.
I think the one thing that's happened this week is that they're all brilliant. Do you know what I mean? They've all. I mean, yours is brilliant, and yours is your retirement's going crap. Eileen. It's going very positive, right? But you know, we need to look at the definition of retirement. It's not studying and continuing to work.
No. But I think too, businesses nowadays, I think the supports that we get from the different organisations around our own county.
Yeah, we're very lucky with we both Pauline Cannon's been really helpful now. She's always there to answer, you know, the questions and point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
All right. Well, well done to the two
Yeah.
of you.
So thanks for having us.
No, it's our pleasure. It wasn't too bad, was
lovely.
it?
Well, you know, it was good. It's good. Thanks very
Well,
much.
we didn't start off like
Are we
that,
still
like.
online? Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Sorry, it was a bit bad. We were a bit nervous.
Bit shaky, but sure.
But
There
we
you go.
started shaky. And
We
then
started
got
shaky,
there.
we did.
But thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's my
All
pleasure.
right,
Listen,
then.
ladies, safe on my journey.
All right.
Ready to kick off your Christmas party season? Get the gang together for the big festive bingo party happening Saturday 29th of November at the Villa Rose Hotel, Ballabufay.
It's bingo, but not as you know it. Expect festive tunes, cocktails, daft games, plenty of laughs, and a €1,000 top cash prize.
Tickets are just €25 plus booking fee, and they're on sale now at Eventbrite or HighlandRadio.com.
So grab your friends, your workmates, or your whole office and make it your Christmas night out.
The big festive bingo party. It's bingo with a festive twist.
The Copes Monster Sale is now on in Dunlow. Save big across Cope Sports, Hubtech, Department Store and Builders Providers with up to 50% off selected items. Shop in-store or online at thecope.ie. Sale ends Sunday, November 2nd.
There's any number of new cars out there, but do the numbers add up? With the stylish Peugeot 2008, Fastback 3008 and spacious 5008 electric and hybrid range, they really do. Enjoy a €500 Dunnes Stores gift card, a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, and for electric cars we'll add a free 3-year service plan and a home charger. Order your 261 Peugeot today at McGinley Motors, your main Peugeot dealer in County Donegal. Offer ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
When you choose to make your meals a little more organic, you're not just enjoying nutritious goodness, you're doing good too by supporting organic farmers and producers. That blissful bit of beef, those fabulous fresh fruit and veg, a dash of delicious dairy, or sumptuous seafood that's succulent and fresh. So whether it's a slice, a starter, a side, or a spread, make your meals a little more organic with certified organic food and drink from Ireland. Learn more at boardbia.ie/organic.
Join EirGrid, the operator and developer of the electricity grid, on Thursday, November the 6th at the Central Hotel in Donegal Town from 6:15 to 8:30 p.m. for the EirGrid Energy Citizens Roadshow. This free event will provide information about home energy efficiency upgrades, retrofitting grants, community microgeneration schemes, and the future of energy in Donegal. To register for the roadshow, visit airgrid.ie/roadshows. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhinneys.com today.
So let's see what the weather's like for you trick-or-treaters out there today. Becoming cloudy and wet for most, with rain quickly spreading north-eastwards, though that rain will clear most areas by early afternoon and be followed by sunny spells and some showers. The rain and showers will be heavy at times with a chance of isolated thunderstorms. However, cloud will build from the south towards nightfall. A breezy day with moderate to fresh southerly winds, so don't let that discourage you. It's a mix and it'll be grand. There's always a window you can get out. By the way, if you've organised something in your local area, get in touch with me so I can give it a plug, will you? Just I want to support the efforts that you're doing where you're doing it. So if you are in Correndonagh, you're invited to join us this evening from 6 to 9 p.m. for the Halloween Witch Trail. Pick up your map from Visit Correndonagh Tourism Office. There's a costume competition, carved pumpkin competition, and You can pick up your map at the tourist office next door to Deirdre's of the Diamond, and you follow the trail. You find hidden witches around the town and Barrackhill Park. Return to the tourist office for a trick-or-treat. Prizes for best costume. It's completely free. It's the Carndonna Halloween Witch Trail, so get along to that. Let's see, where else can we go? What about Dunfanaghy? By the way, anyone travelling from the Creeslough side of Dunfanaghy to Falcarra and from Falcarra direction to Creeslough, due to a parade and fireworks, there are going to be delays in Dunfanaghy. Gardaí are advising people to take different routes, I'm told. Now, people will be starting to gather in Dunfanaghy from 6 o'clock onwards, and the parade there starts at 7. So as I say, I want you, if you've made efforts to organise something in your area, to get it into me so I can get it out there. Because, you know, even though you live specifically in a place, sometimes you don't hear about everything. So as I say, I'd love to use this platform to give you a wee boost if possible. So that's Carndonna and Dunfanaghy in the bag. Greg, shout out to Henry Doohan, the original Donegal tour guide, absolute legend when it comes to touring this county, and also for advice on tourism in general with the county. He is one of the go-to men for any guides. Has anyone seen on YouTube that if you invest €250 in an investment, that from day one you can make a lot of money? It shows Simon Harris as one of the investors. Clearly this is a scam, but watching it you'd think it was real. I'm just very concerned that people will fall for it. How are they allowed to use AI generated images of Simon Harris? Well, you can use AI generated images of absolutely anyone, and I've said before now, AI has got to the point now, even at the basic user level, where some of the content is indistinguishable from the real stuff. I'm not sure. I'm not sure Simon Harris might be the best person to take financial advice off of, so maybe they could try somebody else. But they're probably from outside the country. Right, okay, let's take a break.
Why wait till December? Get Christmas sorted early at Irwin Expert Electrical. The latest Apple and Samsung tech, a Sage coffee machine, even a Dyson or Shark hair care treat. Secure it now with our free Christmas club. Spread the cost, lock in the price, and we'll store it till you're ready. No stress, no panic, just smart shopping made easy. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
The Irish Times says the hybrid Dacia Bigster might just be Ireland's best car right now. That's a big review. Well, it is a big family car with big space, big tech, a big boot and big hybrid power. Get more for less from just €29,990. Visit your local Dacia dealer to find out more. Dacia, drive more for less. Price excludes delivery and related charges. T's and C's apply. Offers are limited. See dacia.ie.
Atlantic Technological University will hold 2 open days on the Letterkenny campus on Thursday the 6th and Saturday the 8th of November from 10 a.m. till 1 p.m. Enjoy a warm welcome from lecturers, support staff and students, and tour the expanding campus to experience the vibrant atmosphere that makes ATU unique. Explore the incredible facilities and wide range of programmes on offer, including 2 brand new degrees in physiotherapy and veterinary medicine and surgery. Discover the fantastic career opportunities, student supports and student life that ATU can offer you. Find out more at atu.ie/open days. ATU, your future is here.
This November at Kerrykeele Community Centre, new ladies only fitness class on Monday and Wednesday evening. We also offer jiu-jitsu, slimming world, sewing, crochet, yoga and Pilates. Don't miss our menopause talk on Tuesday the 18th of November. For more, see the Old School Community Centre Kerrykeele on Facebook or call 086 3444 088.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it is 11 o'clock, another hour to come, of course. Stay right where you are. But let's get a news update, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Donegal Senator Niall Blaney believes it's time Micheál Martin resigned as Fianna Fáil leader. Senator Blaney says last weekend's presidential election was a wake-up call. The party's candidate, Jim Gavin, dropped out of the race after it emerged he owed a former tenant thousands of euro, which he has since repaid. A number of Fianna Fáil backbenchers have expressed their frustration in recent days. Senator Eileen Flynn, meanwhile, asked if there was more to the withdrawal of Jim Gavin than the issue of an overpayment of rent, which he has since paid back. DJ Kerry has arrived in court ahead of his sentencing hearing today. It was adjourned earlier in the week. The former Kilkenny hurler has pleaded guilty to 10 charges of deception after lying about having cancer and asking people for money for treatment. His victims will be given an opportunity to address the court today. 708 people were without a bed at Letterkenny University Hospital this month. According to the Irish Nurses and Midwives Organisation, that's a huge increase of 153% compared to figures from the same period last year. A total of 9,643 patients had to wait on a trolley at hospitals across the country this month. Emergency services are appealing to the public to take extra precaution during Halloween celebrations. Illegal bonfires and lighting fireworks are being discouraged to prevent horrific injuries from happening. Unions are also raising concerns for the safety of frontline workers being sent to emergencies. Donegal County Council is being urged to review roadworks recently completed in Convoy. €95,000 was spent carrying out works outside the local national school and nearby estates. However, exiting and entering town parks in particular is said to be hazardous for both motorists and pedestrians. Councillor Gary Doherty fears the way traffic is being forced to manoeuvre will result in a crash unless action is taken. A special chewing gum cleaning project has been completed across Derry and Strabane. Derry City and Strabane District Council received a grant of £27,000 to tackle the issue earlier this year. And Donegal is set to turn pink next week to support calls for an end to violence against women and girls. The initiative is being spearheaded by Queen's University Belfast Walkie Talkie Girlies, which was established in 2023 and is dedicated to standing in solidarity with all those affected by gender-based violence. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Yeah, but you won't be back on Monday, will you?
No, sadly I won't.
After spending 1/3 of your entire life, effectively,
yeah,
with
it is,
Highland
actually.
Radio, 1/3. That's
Yeah,
including
I
nappies and
know.
everything, right? You're
Yeah,
going
no,
on to
bit
pastures new
sad
today.
now
It's your last
today,
day.
yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you feel?
It's really like hitting home now.
Mm.
I've been grand up until now and then had to say bye to a few people already. So yeah.
What
Sad,
you were?
but-
Was it 22 or 3 when you first came here?
What age I was? I don't know. Well, I'm 33 now, minus 9. So 20, 21, 22, yeah.
Wowzers. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a long time to spend anywhere. Some
Yeah.
would say too long. But
Is that you?
no, not me. But it's been fantastic having you here. You've been such an important part of the team. But at the same time, too, you know, it's also nice to see people, you know, develop and try new things and go on
Yeah.
to different ways. So what, reflecting on your time here, what has been not the highlight as such, but what did you, and not working, when I say working here, I mean also sort of, you know, working with the people of the Northwest.
I suppose it's like a family here in Highland and everybody's so lovely and...
You mean we fight like cats and dogs?
No, it's a nice family. But I think whenever you're a journalist, you don't kind of, when you're working on, say, a story, say we went to the protests in Dublin, you don't think of that as a big thing. But when you reflect back, it was a huge moment. So it's nice to have been a part of that and say, like, you know, sadly, the Crease Law explosion, you know, we just tried to do everything we could at the time. But when you think back, it was a major part
We had
of,
a role
I
to
suppose,
play.
my career,
Yeah.
yeah. And then sitting in for you that day then.
Yeah, that's true. That really put you off, didn't it? I mean, you were doing that,
That
for a
was the
couple of
end of it.
months, and then that was just the
But
absolute
yeah, that
end
was a
of it.
nice new challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
And you're moving on now straight into a new job as well,
Yeah,
which is
starting
exciting
Monday,
for you,
yeah.
isn't it? And you're working in Donegal, isn't that right?
Yeah, literally
Okay.
5-minute walk down the road.
Right, okay. And for now, do you see this as a step out of journalism or...
I don't know. It's very hard. I suppose it was hard to come to that decision too. And because, you know, I finished college, came here, and that's what I always wanted to do was journalism. But it's still part of journalism. Like, I'm still going to be writing and
Well, there's
communicating.
there's a lot of transferable skills,
Yeah,
isn't there? So you're
that's
still
it.
in this space. You're still, you know, the fundamentals of it, delivering messages,
Yeah,
getting
that's it.
information across, whilst it's different.
Yeah, and
It's-
helping
it's a lot the
communities
same.
and-
Yeah, brilliant. So
Yeah,
it's with
so
the, can you say
D-
you with?
yeah,
Okay,
DLDC.
DLDC. I didn't want to
Yeah,
say it
so
without
not too far at all.
you saying it. All right, so it is good. So we're all going to miss you very
I'm
much.
gonna
You've
miss yous all
contributed
too.
so much to, you know, obviously your work colleagues and your presence and all that type of stuff, but in reliably and efficiently always delivering news fairly with no bias, no nothing. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you've done fantastic, and we're going to miss you.
Yeah, maybe the next person will be able to differentiate between woman and woman.
You've just said the same word twice.
That was, yeah, a big thing for you, wasn't it?
It was no, but I mean, Listen, we've had a few people from West Tyrone in here. It's not a problem. Gareth Wilkinson was women and women.
Yeah. It's just our trademark.
It's just, I don't understand. So say women.
Women.
Say woman.
Woman.
You're getting there.
Getting there.
Okay,
After
no,
9
there
years.
was a difference there. All right. Anyway, listen, you've still got bulletins and all to do, but from all of us here from the News and Current Affairs team and the 9 till noon show and the listeners who loved you actually when you stood in for me, but also that have trusted you with some of the biggest news stories, not just in the county, but in the country as well. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
and
thank you
the
very
best
much.
of luck with everything going forward. And
Thank you.
don't be a stranger, I
Yeah.
think is the message.
Thanks.
All right, that's Michaela Clark, who I think might be dropping the Clark moniker going forward, will you?
I think I am.
You're going full on Flanagan.
Yeah,
Full-time
think so.
Flan. Full-time
Yeah.
Flan.
After
Right,
6
okay.
years of that too.
So finally she can embrace her married name. 6 years? Are you not married 6 years, are you?
6 years past, yeah.
That's astonishing.
Yeah.
Were you going out with Lee when you started here?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I
So
think
we
I may have
can't
been
take credit for
engaged
that.
maybe when I was.
Right, we can't
yeah,
take credit
no.
for that. That's okay. All right, best of luck to you and everything into the future. We'll be back with more after the break.
Consider tantalizing, tasty turkey meatballs. Oof, Aldi, you're teasing us. Come on, cooked in the tray. Just pop it in the oven. Handy. Or what about raw beef teriyaki? That's sizzle. And then there's succulent salmon with garlic and herby butter. Lovely. The only thing that could make that better is chips. Great value, tasty and handy too. Now you're cooking. Aldi ready to cook range. Prepped by us, cooked by you.
086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Right, we've discussed on this programme a number of times this rule that prohibits drivers aged 70 and over from driving school buses. So if you have a Bus Éireann school bus run, or you have won a tender from Bus Éireann, you couldn't drive the bus any longer once you turn 70. And these are, brilliant men and women who love what they do, but they could then at 70 roll up to the school if they'd been contracted separately, and pick all the same children up and take them on a tour to Tato Park or Emerald Park or whatever it's called now. So as I say, I've not liked this rule for a long time. Hopefully it might be changing. Jacqueline Hogg is Rural Affairs and Investigative Journalist with the Farmers Journal. Good morning, Jacqueline. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning.
Right, so have I framed that, or is there anything needs to be added to this controversial rule?
No, the rule was introduced last year on foot of a Road Safety Authority report. There's an office within the RSA, the National Office for Traffic Medicine, that basically develops road traffic policy and medical fitness to drive guidelines. And that said that there was a risk associated with drivers over 70. However, there was an Oireachtas Transport Committee meeting earlier this month to discuss specifically the issue of rural transport. So given that school transport is such a huge chunk of rural transport, this obviously was raised. And the Chief Executive of Bus Éireann, Stephen Kent, listened to the representations from TDs and senators and appreciated that it is a bugbear for a lot of people, families obviously who can't get their kids onto a bus because there aren't drivers there. And as you said there in your introduction, the very many competent, safe drivers all over the country who've been driving school children to and from school for years, and then as soon as they turn 70, they're told they can't. So yeah, it's a huge issue, but Mr. Kent said that while they had to follow the report, and that they weren't alone in following the report, Dublin Bus has a similar policy. He did say that they were looking at an independent study to see if the smaller vehicles, they're like transit vans that would bring like 8 children or less, and believe it or not, those buses make up a third of the school bus fleet. So they're looking to see if they could allow the older drivers to continue working on those vehicles, but nothing has been decided as of yet.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't see the difference between a 16-seater and a 28-seater, but there you go. And when we were covering this, as we have over the years, Jacqueline, one of the last press releases we got from Bus Éireann, they doubled down on it. It's not like they just said it's they quoted a lot of data to back up that their belief, that you're at a much greater risk or a greater risk of accidents or collisions or what have you over 70. So it does seem a little bit of a shift in their actual policy then, if they're looking at least at some areas of this.
Yes, well, I suppose to the contradiction that you pointed out, I spoke to one bus driver in Limerick who has been driving to school, school children to and from school for 24 years. And he said that he wasn't even able to finish the school year last year because his birthday was the 2nd of June. And he brought children with special needs to school, and they were very upset and confused as to why he wasn't on the bus anymore. But then there is the contradiction that he could go back to that same school half an hour later and take children on a journey much longer and be deemed safe.
Yeah, it's
So,
a la carte road safety, which I find confusing because, you have to go through health checks, you have to go through screening, you have to do updated courses and all. I just don't see what happens at 70 that in certain areas of public transport that you become more of a liability, and that liability is not considered in other areas. It's nonsensical. But to clarify, Bus Ireland says they're only looking at the smaller size buses then to accommodate these older drivers.
Yes, and again, they're doubling down on the fact that school transport, by its nature, the safety has to be priority. You're dealing with children, and people do appreciate that. But as you will also know, I'm sure from your listeners, school transport is such a stressful area for parents, and even the nature of the scheme and how it's rolled out. Parents are left till the middle to the end of August every year, not knowing how their children are going to get to school. And with the aging population, drivers are getting older, so it's going to become more of an issue if they don't look to tweak this rule. Because again, the drivers I spoke to are more than happy to undergo testing every 6 months if necessary, a fitness to drive test, which anyone would be happy to do. I mean, nobody wants to get behind the wheel of a bus and have, to be compromising the safety of children like that. That would just be completely against the grain for anyone I've spoken to. But there are ways of fixing the overall system, and one of the most obvious ones would be having enough drivers and having enough buses to cope with the numbers.
All right, okay. Interesting. We'll follow with interest. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time in helping us get that story out. Jacqueline Hogg there, Rural Affairs and investigative journalist with the Farmers Journal. What's your view on that? As I say, if the data suggests that people aren't safe driving in one area of school transport, i.e. bus errand buses, but then you say they're okay to drive the same bus to football matches or school tours, I mean, that doesn't make sense. It's either one or other. I don't think it can be both at the same time. And I do wonder what data they are employing. Are they employing data from this country? Is it data from across the world? Is it factoring in the fact that people, I think a lot are looking after themselves more, they're in better shape? It just seems wrong to me anyway. I don't know what you guys think. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Okay, we're going to be talking about the rise in motor insurances, and I don't know why it's going up, because it seems like it shouldn't be going up, but it is. We'll be chatting to the Alliance for Insurance Reform after these.
It's here, the new Opel Frontera. Join Manor Motors for the Frontera test drive event and discover the wow, the new family fun SUV from Opel. With big comfort, huge space and room for 7. Choose hybrid or electric and make every drive a new adventure. Get behind the wheel at Manor Motors, your Opel dealer. Now with 5 years unlimited warranty. The new Opel Frontera. Fun has found its family.
You value getting into the spirit of the season with hair-raising fun and deadly offers waiting around every corner at Lidl. Risen from the earth, our Board B approved Irish pumpkins from 89 cent. And when kids come a-knocking, there's treats from 69 cent. Halloween at Lidl. More to value.
At the heart of every successful business are highly skilled and talented people. That's why at SkillNet Ireland, we know that every skill counts. Whatever sector your business operates in and whatever skills you or your business needs, contact one of our 70 SkillNet business networks for training and development that's industry-led and can improve your business success. Visit skillnetireland.ie for upskilling and reskilling supports to develop your team. SkillNet Ireland is a business support agency of the Government of Ireland.
Meet Louise. She made big savings on her car insurance when she made the switch to Outsurance.
Hi, I'm Louise. It's true, I saved €212 when I made the switch. And with the Out bonus, I'll get 10% of my premiums back in cash after 3 years claim-free.
Happy days. For a competitive car insurance quote like Louise's, call 1-800-600-400 or visit outsurance.ie. Real people, unreal savings. Outsurance. You always get something out. Based on a like-for-like policy comparison, the customer received a gratuity for their participation. Out bonus calculated less taxes and levies. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Car and home insurance is underwritten by Outsurance DAC. Outsurance DAC, trading as Outsurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna dúirteagat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor an go letrachas na hÉireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, éire a guachtu. Tá sé.
The time now is 16 minutes past 11. So listen, on the face of it, and I haven't dug too deep in this, we're seeing less uninsured drivers out there thanks to technology. I think there's been a halving in recent times. We are seeing, I think, lower payouts, though I'm open to correction on that. And we've had an awful lot of a conversation from government and particularly opposition in the Oireachtas committees and what have you, talking about the massive profits that insurance companies make, the very low level of challenge to claims. So effectively, and you'll have been in this situation, you've had a bumper to someone, and next thing you know, the insurance company tells you in a couple of months' time that they've paid out, the car was a write-off and the person's head fell off their shoulders or something along those lines, right? So we would have thought we're heading in the right direction, that surely, especially considering record profits have been made, that insurance premiums would be going down the way. But Brian Hanley, CEO of the Alliance for Insurance Reform, joins us. And unfortunately, Brian, and pick up and add to anything I've said there, insurance premiums are going the wrong way from a consumer's perspective.
That's right. And today's report from the Central Bank won't come as any great surprise to your listeners. It found that premiums went up 9% last year alone. Now, they attributed this to basically the increase in the cost of damage claims. So that's repairs to vehicles. And last year, both the volume of claims and the cost per claim went up significantly, and has done for a year or two now. And the report is suggesting, I think, quite clearly that increased cost has led directly to the premium increases. But I would say, repair inflation just can't be a blank check for insurers. It can't be, the starting point for premium increases. Absolutely, we understand that premiums are tied to costs and so on. And those costs do have to be monitored very closely. And we see in the report today, there is some justification for it. But I think we also, and the government needs to focus on the areas where we can create additional savings in the overall cost of solving motor claims. And we also need to make sure that the savings generated from the reforms that you mentioned are being scrupulously passed on to policyholders.
Yeah, because, if their costs have gone up, I suppose, any decent business model, if you've got shareholders and what have you, you pass that on to some extent. But, they are also making fantastic profits. There could be some level of absorption. And I don't really hear insurance companies rallying against, increased costs or what have you. You know what I mean? That they must be doing okay.
Well, absolutely. Look, before we worry too much about them, their profits last year were still €61 million. As recently as 2021, insurers made a 14% profit margin, just shy of €200 million. And in the same year, when they were making close to 200 million, I think premiums came down by just 2%. So yes, there have been reductions in motor, particularly up until, I think, the year before last, of about the order of 20%. But that has to be looked at in the context of the profit margin that they also have when it comes to motor.
Are they scrutinising, though, the cost of vehicle repairs? Are they scrutinising injury claims? Are they, challenging any of this stuff? Because this is all money they're playing with effectively. I was almost rocked off my chair when I heard the low level of challenge. This is going back a couple of years, in fairness, in conversation with Deputy Pearse Doherty at the time in the Oireachtas committee, that, effectively, if I said, my car's smashed in bits and I'm in bits as well, even if that weren't the case, it was just settled. Has there been any increase in the scrutiny of or challenges to some of these repair or injury costs?
Yeah, look, that is a problem, particularly when it comes to injury claims, and fraudulent and vexatious claims are a significant problem, particularly exaggerated claims. And it's very hard to disprove someone exaggerating a claim one way or the other. We do see, if you were to say that there's 10 or 15,000 claims in a year, let's say, only 100 claims last year were reported to the Garda Insurance Fraud Coordination Office. So there's still a ways to go. And
so tell us those figures again, sorry, of the total...
less than 0.5% of all personal injury claims were reported to the Garda Insurance Fraud Coordination Office.
So that means there's no fraud in insurance then, obviously. Because statistically, you're heading towards zero there. So there's no exaggeration and no fraudulent claims, obviously, then, because that would be what that indicates.
And yet they can't have it both ways, Greg, because then they'll tell you that they think it's up to 20% of claims could be fraudulent or exaggerated, and that's why you're paying more. But at the same time, only 0.5% are actually being reported. Now, I appreciate it can be difficult to prove as well. And I think the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. But there is nothing more frustrating to policyholders, motorists or business owners or anyone else, when they see suspect claims being settled.
But if you can put in any invoice, right, and you can put in any cert, medical cert or whatever it might be, and there is a 0.5% challenge of that, a 0.5% chance of that being successfully challenged to whereby you potentially could get in trouble, right?
Yes.
You will not, you can do whatever you like. It's the Wild West.
I think it's still a huge problem, and I think particularly in motor. Look, CCTV is beginning to improve things and so on, and the message putting pressure on politicians, and indeed in turn for them to put it on insurers, that we cannot continue to settle suspect claims. They have to be challenged, and challenged robustly. And it is positive when we do see those stories in the papers or hear about them on the radio of those cases, but there just aren't nearly enough of them. And we need to be looking at all areas where we can drive down costs, because, to be honest, it is difficult to challenge international headwinds when it comes to inflation around the cost of parts and supply chain. But there's a lot of other things we could do. And I think one of the areas that we need to see addressed is we would like to see more cases settling at the Injuries Board. This report from the Central Bank today showed that a third of cases still settle in litigation, and that accounts for 2/3 of the overall cost of all motor claims.
Well, there's the problem, isn't it?
Huge problem. So if and it's important for people to know that you can get your compensation at the Injuries Board, and it will be very similar, if not the exact same, as you would get through litigation, and you'll get it in half the time because it's a much faster process. But by removing unnecessary legal fees, and no one has an issue with complex or contentious cases, going to litigation, but the vast majority are much more straightforward, and it's an unnecessary cost. And I think we need to see far more cases settling at the Injuries Board, because that will reduce the overall cost of claims. And then insurers really are running out of excuses not to pass on those savings.
But yes, you and I are chatting away here, and I would say, and I would hope, unless you're in the business of repairing vehicles, or you're in the legal professional working in this area, or you're working for insurance companies, you might think we're talking twaddle. But who is the overseer of the insurance company? Who brings them into a room and say, look, we're going to have to challenge you to at least have these amount of cases settled in the resolution board? You're going to have to at least, out of 100, randomly pick 20, scrutinise them, and challenge them if they need be in terms of vehicle repairs or what have you. Is it regulated at all? And if so, it sounds very light touch.
Well, it is. So in answer to your question, the Department of Finance is responsible, and the Minister for Finance is responsible for insurance policy in this country. And the junior minister there, Robert Troy, has specific responsibility for insurance policy here. They're always run into difficulties, of course, with, interfering with the market and so on and so forth. But I do think you raise an interesting point. It would be interesting to know how well resourced the fraud detection units are across all the insurers. As I said, there are some very good ones, but others that you rarely hear bringing a case. You don't read in the papers about some of those insurers.
But you see, if they can pass on routinely whatever increases they have, where's the challenge for them to spend some of their resources in this. They'd have to be so focused on looking after the customer that we're not seeing. You know what I mean? So if they challenge this, their profits don't necessarily decrease or increase, but their expenditure would increase because they'd have to have a better resource department, I think.
Yes, and it is expensive. Like, to be fair, it is expensive to bring those cases, and to take them to court is expensive because often you're bringing someone to court maybe, and you're not going to be able to recover your legal fees from that person, and that person might decide to appeal, and then we're into the High Court, and legal fees are off to the races. So I do appreciate that there is a cost there. However, if you keep settling cases, it's short-term thinking, and no message goes out that it's unacceptable, that you will be caught, that this will be challenged. And I do think it is worth the time and the resources in the short to medium term if we are ever to do anything about that issue. I mean, you have to look at other areas. There are savings coming, like the 1% motor levy is gone. The insurance compensation fund levy is about to be halved. You mentioned that at the top, uninsured driving has come down by half since 2022, and more claims are settling using the personal injuries guidelines, which has reduced awards by 25%. So I think it's absolutely important, vital, that we pay close attention to what these reports from the central bank, and indeed the government has a new transparency code coming out. We need to see clear proof that these savings are being passed on. One other area I think to look at as well, if I may, Greg, is like in July, the government decided not to increase personal injury awards by 17%. And there's been a lot of talk about that earlier this year. And this was based on the recommendation of the Judicial Council last December. Now, insurers would have had to make very significant provision for that increase, and that would have been loaded onto everybody's premiums for the last while. Since that's not happening, it's absolutely essential that those early assumptions are reversed, and frankly, those now unnecessary reserves are actually paid back to policyholders in future premiums and not banked as profits. And over to the government on that one and their new transparency code to make sure we see the savings we know are there offset the costs when it comes to repairs.
Interesting point. We shall watch with interest. Brian, thanks so very much. Have a lovely weekend.
Great to be with you.
All right, bye-bye. Brian Hanley, CEO of the Alliance for Insurance Reform. Tony, are you there? Good morning.
Good morning.
Greg here. Yeah. What's your experience? What's your experience with the insurance market?
Well, I'm getting on in years now, but I was insured with a local broker here in my area for a number of years, and I always got, when your insurance is due, they let you know within a month. Always there's a month. They have to inform you that your insurance is due in a month's time. So when you go on and talk to them, then what quote is it? And they try these different companies to get the best quotation. But this last number of years, my insurance has gone up like from maybe less than 300 up now, and it's over 500 now. Like, that's the way it's gone. But anyway, I decided this year, I got my monthly notice that my insurance was due. So I've seen these ads on television. If you go with this company, you can save up to €200 plus. So I was looking at it and I thought, well, €200 good for me. It's just for the insurance company. So anyway, I applied for it, phoned up and got the quote over the phone, paid for it with my card over the phone, and I got my insurance the following week in the post. Your cover and your thing for the windscreen and all. So anyway, I thought, this was about a week before my insurance was due with my local broker. So anyway, I got a phone call from my local broker then, and he says, your insurance is due, in a few days' time. Are you coming in or what? Or what's the story? And I said, well, I said, I've got insured with another company now. I got a fairly good quotation, and he said, that was fine. He says, by the way, he says, who did I get insured with? So I told him, and he says, you wouldn't mind coming in and let me have a look at this? He says, and I says, well, why? No, he says, just want to see, exactly what's what. So I went in anyway, and he spent a half an hour there, and he had a look at it and went through it and all. And he was shocked. He couldn't believe the amount of things that you're not actually covered for. Because, like, a lot of people, you phone up these companies over the phone and you get a quote, you tell them you want to be insured for this or that, whatever it is. And a lot of times you're not properly insured. And if you go into a broker, he explains to you what exactly what you're covered for and what you're not covered for.
Can you
Well, it was
remember
actually
some?
flabbergasted.
Can you remember some of the obvious things that you'd lost cover for?
Yeah, well, one or two. Like one of them would have been, say, if you had an accident and your car was off the road, say you weren't covered for a courtesy car.
Right.
You wouldn't be. There were things, Greg, that I didn't really understand. if you know what I'm
International
saying.
travel can be
You know,
one as well, and windscreen cover and breakdown cover.
Exactly. People, 99.9% of the people phone up these companies and get a quote, and you pay your money over through your bank card, whatever. But when you get somebody who knows what it's about to look at it, and they pick up on these things right away, and he just couldn't believe it's just what if I had wanted to get covered what I should have been covered for, it would have cost me more than the quote I was getting from my broker. It would have been 500.
I think for lots of people, Tony, you're right, but I think for lots of people, insurance is just a prerequisite for getting on the road. And regardless of what is or isn't covered, you just go for the cheapest. Because if you were to be fussy, it could be the difference between getting on the road or not. So it's just to get legal, get the disc in the window and crack on. But I take your point. You need to make sure that if you need certain stuff covered and you have the resources to pay that bit extra, make sure what's covered is covered.
Well, that's it. I mean, you could be involved in an accident. It may not necessarily be your fault. And it ends up that you're going to be out a lot of money because you didn't realise what you were actually covered for and what you weren't covered for.
So what did you do? Did you cancel? Was there a cooling off period?
I can't. Yeah. Sorry, I was lucky, Greg. When you get your insurance from a company, you have 14 days. There's some name on it.
Cooling off period, they call it, yeah?
Cooling off period. So I was lucky enough. I think it was my 12th day, and I phoned up this company again after I talked to my broker and said I want to cancel. So, why, blah, 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 what's it? And I just said, well, I'm just not happy with it, and I just within the 14 days, and that's okay. So I got my money back, and I got my insurance again with my local broker who I've been insured with for a number of years. So, I mean, it just shows you I could have been caught out big time if I hadn't, if my broker hadn't just asked me. He said, look, I don't usually do this, but he says, would you mind letting me, show me what you've actually got? So he took it in, and he says he couldn't believe, he says, how many people are being caught out, like this, that they're getting insurance and they're not actually insured properly. That's as simple as that.
It'll teach you.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's an expensive lesson to learn if you're caught out.
Yeah.
And you should ring up maybe some of these brokers, and just ask their opinion on it, because talk to them, on your show.
But you know
there.
what? I'll tell you what, Tony, you can talk to all the experts in the world, but your story is the one that people will remember, and they'll double check off the back of it. So I take your point, Tony, but I think, as I say, there'll be a few people checking their policies now off the back of what you've said. But yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, definitely, Greg. I would advise people just go into your. You can't. Well, most brokers are decent enough that would, if you were with them for a number of years, they'll go through it and explain to you what's what. Because 99.9 people get your insurance, and you don't really look at the detail until something happens, and then sometimes when something happens, you're out. You could be out big money,
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
Anyway, Greg,
I've loved chatting to you, Tony. Thank you.
You're doing a good job there.
Oh, really? Could you put that in an email? Send it to Sean
It'll
Quinn.
cost you.
Send it to Sean Quinn, CEO Highland Radio. Good man.
Right, Greg.
Look after yourself.
All the
Tony.
best.
Right, bye-bye. On the insurance issue, Pierce Doherty proved the insurance companies exaggerated and were being untruthful. They're actively trying to fleece us, says a listener there. On the issue of older bus drivers, hi Greg, Busaran should do a survey on their own drivers and find out what number of crashes were caused by the younger drivers against their older drivers. Thanks, Greg. Well, listen, I'm unashamed. I don't think it ever benefits to elevate one campaign to criticise another group of people, but I'm very much opposed, personally speaking, to anything that I've seen that stops really good people being unable to do their work in certain areas, but can batter on and do the same work in a different area. There's an ad on TV at the moment where a motorist says she saved €290,000 on her car insurance. What baffled me is how one insurance company can assess the risk with such a difference. Another, I'll tell you why motor insurance is going up. False claims, that's why. I had a collision. The other person put in a claim to my insurance. I supplied evidence and her claim was rejected by my insurance, but now it's going to court. Bear in mind, this person had no insurance on her car, but my insurance just said that's a matter for the Garda, that she still had a right to claim, which is the truth, because we all pay into a fund that does provide third level cover, I think, in these types of instances. All right, but at least your insurance company challenged it. That's not happening a lot. And 0.5% go to court. So you're in a very exclusive club there. I hope it works out.
How are things? How's the family? How are you? How can I help?
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, it starts with asking how. Because how is a small word, but this social connection makes a big difference. So if you know someone affected by dementia, check in with them and learn more about how you can help build dementia-inclusive communities at understandtogether.ie from the HSC.
I need somebody to love.
Big deals are now on at Dreams. I bet you beds are excited.
Oh yeah, we're bouncing.
Until Tuesday, save 20% off all bed frames when bought with a mattress. But don't hang about. You snooze, you lose. Dreams. Let us find you a bed that loves you back.
Change is the only constant in business. So whether you're starting or growing your business, our dedicated business teams will always be here to support you every step of the way. Because the best businesses never stop beginning. Search Bank of Ireland Business. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
It's the 261 test drive event at Barry Brown Cars in Milford and Donegal Town this Friday 31st of October to Sunday the 2nd of November. Visit Barry Brown Cars to test drive your brand new 261 Suzuki. Order this weekend and enjoy 0% finance and a 10-year warranty at Barry Brown Cars, Milford and Donegal Town, your trusted Suzuki dealer.
This Saturday, the 1st of November, the Highland Radio Country Music Weekend continues at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Enjoy a brilliant night of music and dancing with Jordan McPaulin, Stacey Breen and Michael English and his band. A few Saturday night only packages remain. €249 for one night for two people, bed and breakfast plus 2 tickets, or you can pay at the door. Get there early, it's going to be a sellout. More info at clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com.
Okie doke. Donna Marie Doherty is in with us. She's deputising for Shannon, keeping us up to date with what's happening in the world of social media. How are you getting on?
I'm all good. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. And you were just saying, as we were coming on air, that you were going to a Halloween party
tomorrow
sorry,
night.
can you spoil it, or is it a surprise?
No, it's not a surprise.
In a Christmas jumper.
In a Christmas jumper. Now, there's a whole story here, but you're absolutely going to hit. So, you know the TV show Glee?
Mm-hmm.
I am going as Rachel Berry, and there's a whole big thing where she wears her reindeer jumper. And I was actually clearing out the wardrobe, and I was like, Halloween costume sorted.
Lazy.
Christmas.
but you've got a backstory that maybe makes it seem like it's not.
Oh yeah, no, this has been years going into the making.
Okay, right. All right. We're going to talk some Halloween stories. I would love to do one whereby people rang in, and I always forget because Halloween creeps up on me. Where people, can I just before I do that? By the way, if you're on the road, there's a very bad oil spill on the road from Termon to Kilmacrennan, travelling in both directions. Please be careful. So it's wet out there, and it's a bendy old piece of road, so be careful. So yeah, I'd love to get some. Halloween stories, but you're going to help us with that.
Absolutely, yeah. Because we have ones here. We have Greencastle, Inishboffin, Letterkenny, two in Raphoe.
And are these
the Gap.
user contributed?
They are one. There's a big website called the Haunted Database, and it had just reams of pages of local ghost stories and things that people have seen.
Right, well, let's start with that actually,
Okay,
because I'll tell you why. It might trigger some interaction. It's content, you know.
Oh yes.
So what ghost stories do we have?
So I think one of the more local ones to hear anyway is that there was a flat that was haunted in Letterkenny, and it was around 1992, and a blessing had to be performed because the occupants there were experiencing, they were hearing strange noises, there was cold spots and unidentified voices, which was very creepy. And then after they got the house blessed and researchers came in, it was learned that the site was previously used as like a sick house. So Creepy.
Yeah. Anything else there? What else?
There is, this one is my favourite one that's on it. So it's The Vanishing Hitchhiker. And this is between Barnesmore Gap and the Castle Derrick Junction. So imagine foggy driving in the pitch black. And it is said to be around December 1983. And the story goes that the vanishing hitchhiker takes the form of a young woman who jumps into any car that stops in the dark.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've been
Dark
told
Every
this
Night?
by someone that claims that it was they that had this person as a passenger.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, going back a
Oh,
long
that's-
time, but yeah.
Oh God. There's one story that says she got into a taxi that was going this way and the car became extremely cold, and after nearing a section a woman said, "Stop here, this is where I died."
Oh no.
And then she vanished.
I wondered, did she ask the taxi driver, is it busy and what time are you on till?
Or no, the best one, do you take card? And see, whenever they say
That's
no,
so-
I lose my
That's
will
so
to live.
generational. That.
Oh no.
No.
It's a sore spot.
Are you
so it is.
busy? Are you busy? What time are you on till?
Or Mario, since we've let her kind of like, and do you have your own number that we could just call directly?
Cuts out the commission. Right, okay. Any ghost stories? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. Right, my AI video. What's this about?
This is something that really creeped me out. So it is. So I woke up yesterday morning and I had a message from my friend saying, "Have you seen this?"
Right.
Whenever I went into it, it was a link to a YouTube video that had me and Darian's photo on it.
It's saying sign in to prove you're not a bot.
Oh no!
don't do that.
You've been doing that.
Huh?
YouTube's been doing that. I've had some bother
Why
with
is
it.
that?
I'm not too
They're
sure.
trying to target our ads. Let me see whose account can I use. There was an issue while signing you in. Troubleshoot here. Right. Anyway,
You better on. I'll carry on telling my story. So we're there's been two plays on in the Valor. There's the Dog's Life and the Ripple Effect. And so there's two different group chats, and somebody in the Dog's Life group chat was like, "Gosh, I was trying to see if I could find any other versions of the play online just for a nose to see how they did it." And this came up, who made it, and it is a photo of me and Darren that goes through multiple transitions, and an AI voice that is taking all the information from the plays and reading it out.
I'm going to rip this monitor off the wall and throw it into the bin. Why? I'm going to try a different browser. Yeah, okay. Chrome, come back, all's forgiven. Yeah, so keep talking. Sorry, or maybe you're finished.
No, it's all good. But it's just the kind of thing that the video was there. It had hardly any views at the start. Where it was kind of like, "Oh, who made this here?" Because it's kind of bad. And then whenever we went onto the page, it's called Worldwide News, I think. So they just seem to go and rip stories and generate AI content out of them. But maybe it is a person behind it. I can't see. Like, given all the other, there's like stories from all over the world. I don't know why. Well, of course, our plays are fantastic. That is why it made the Worldwide News. But you know what I mean? Like, it was just really unnerving that
I
you
can't
forget.
see it. I know. I'll check it out in a
no.
bit. Right. Irish parents dominating TikTok trends.
Oh, this made my week, so it did.
Go on.
So, do you know there's the trend where you have two people standing back to back and one of
Yeah.
them sings Cardi B and the other one is a Blondies?
No, it's Four Non-Blondes.
Oh, okay.
And Four Non-Blondes is the wake in the
Yeah.
morning, and then the Cardi
Cardi
B rap
B.
underneath it.
Yeah, Bees in the Trap.
But I can't play that because there's
I've edited it.
Have you really?
I have edited it, yes, I've come prepared. So this doll got her to get her mommy and daddy to do it, and it was just carnage, but it's something that you'd see in every kitchen in Ireland. It was so funny.
Let's have a quick listen and a look.
No, and I get real high,
And I
Dad.
get real high.
I scream to the top of my lungs.
And I scream at the top of my lungs.
Right, Mum, what's your bit?
What is it? Sorry. I can't remember.
And they ain't saying nothing.
100
Can't tell me nothing. That's Nicki Minaj, I'm not sure.
It's just daddy still going for it in the background.
Okay, you ready?
Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. Bees in the trap.
Tell me that is not your junior infants teacher doing your Jolly Phonics.
I think
Bees in the trap.
I think that's good.
Um,
right. And it's Nicki Minaj. It's not Cardi B, isn't it?
She said Cardi B in the video.
I think it's Nicki Minaj.
Oh
But
dear.
anyway,
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
I don't get that trend. It kind of annoys me, and I do
Really?
like my trends. Yeah.
Oh,
but
I thought
do
it was
like
so
the
funny.
actual track.
I think you and Shannon would do a brilliant go with that. So I
Is
don't
that a
think it was
challenge?
so funny. Absolutely.
Who does the rapping? I'll do that.
I would have thought Shannon would have done that. Shannon's
she's not
feisty.
she's not very cool though. I'm cool.
Is she?
Yeah. No, she's not. She's not cool. I'm relevant. She's not. That's lovely.
And then the
I love TikTok. I really
I
do.
love. I spent my life on TikTok. It's terrible.
It is terrible.
TikTok's the best. And then as I was trawling through TikTok, then have you seen the whole thing? It was happening over in America of the pleather pants. And the whole thing was that if you squatted, it sounded like you sat in a whoopee cushion.
Right.
And this poor unsuspecting.
One second.
Scream to the top of my lungs.
This is the native.
What's going on? Right, okay, we'll stop that. So, okay.
And they ain't saying nothing. No, and
She won't
Just
stop.
let her get her bees in the trap, Greg.
No, I'm going to have to close WhatsApp and reopen. No, all right.
You know, they say that ghosts infiltrate technology. Maybe
Do you know
maybe the
what?
studio's haunted.
That is spooky.
Mm.
Okay, so talk to me about the pants then.
So this poor unsuspecting Irish mother had the most reaction you could imagine. So she got her trousers and she's like, "Oh, mom, show me your trousers," and then she was going to drop it like it hot, and it just derails from there.
Let's see.
Now I'm under new trousers. Drop it like it's hot.
That's not me. That is not. It's definitely not
Do
me.
it again.
Yeah, that's her in her leather trousers, I think.
And she's like, "I'm going to have to take these back." And the daughter's like, "Well, what are you going to do? You're going to have to show them."
It's the reaction. Isn't
Oh,
it?
we
Okay,
did
brilliant
contact the brand, but unfortunately they did not want to get back to me on the magical musical pants.
Right, okay.
I tried. But
what next?
What next? We have you were talking about doppelgangers.
Yes.
And then I had a brainwave about one. It came to me. My goddaughter's now 6, and back when in her very young years loved Blippi, and she could not differentiate Blippi and Lee Gooch. She thought they were the same person for ages.
We need to get orange glasses on him and an orange cap. Looks wise, yeah, they've got Blippi does my planting.
Energy wise.
Do you know
wise.
there's 2 Blippies?
Yeah, I seen that when I was looking
There
up, and
are
I was
2
like,
Blippies,
because I thought whenever I was looking up, I was like, I remember you looking a lot more.
There are 2 Blippies.
like the
There's
Gooch.
one, the original, the OG Blippy, and then there's another one, and then there's a woman as well now. Yeah, I can see it, Lee Gooch and Blippy, definitely. I can see Lee doing children's programs.
Absolutely. I think if we
So-
put orange glasses and a blue hat on him and put him down to Century Play, he'll make his millions.
Let's try it. But with Lee, if the fee's right, he will try it. That's the thing.
That's
all
it.
right. Lee Gooch and Mr. Blippy. When we did do that, Shannon put together a few side by sides. They were desperate. I didn't condone mine. I don't think it was fair.
Yeah, I thought you were going to come in your Harry Hill costume.
Yeah, no, we're not doing Harry Hill. I've matured since then and grew a beard because of Harry. But what's his name? Lee, Joe Dex and
Bradley Cooper.
Though Bradley Cooper has had something done to his face. There's something happening in Hollywood with the faces. The whole faces are changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind. If you wanna do a bit of work, a bit of a facelift, that's fine. It wouldn't be for me. But the whole faces are changing shape.
Have you seen Kris Jenner lately?
Yes, I
She
did,
is the double of Kim now. She got a facelift, and that plastic surgeon, like where Jews are made or paid, he did a brilliant job on her.
If you think I've lost my microphone. Like if you think stretching your skin, like if you went any further, she would have had a beard.
Oh, but whenever you see somebody's got a facelift and they just are like,
yeah. Okay. Right. What next?
We'll go on to Strictly Come Dancing. We'll come back to the Haunted Mansion. So Joe Sugg and then Diane, her second name's left me. She won it last year. Remember she was dancing with Chris.
I don't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, she's pregnant and they're having a baby, and it was all very lovely. Yes. But then last week we were talking about Claudia and Tess.
Yes.
And it was like, why was their news so rushed? And on a live stream, Joe, we have a clip there of him saying it was like, well, I hope they didn't have to rush their news for the same reason we had to rush ours.
Let's hear it.
We had to also, a little side note, like we had to announce it slightly rushed. And I don't know if it's for the same reason as to why Claudia and Tess had to rush their bit of news out. If it was, then it's very annoying. But basically, we had an email on a Friday, basically sort of saying, oh, hello, we have very reliable sources that have told us that you're having a child. So it's such lovely news. So we're going to tell everyone on this Sunday. We were like, what? yeah, it's lovely news, but it's our lovely news to tell. And annoyingly, through one way or another, we get pregnancy rumours.
See, that's the thing.
articles.
It's one of those things. If you're in the public eye, how much of you's in the public eye or not? I think as tabloids go, and also gossip websites go, I think celebs into the future, in inverted commas, are actually going to be going, well, how am I going to get out there into the public domain? But anyway, it should be their news to share. And I'm sure that's not why the other two packed it in.
Well, see, people are saying maybe there's a Strictly Mole who's taken £50 notes and envelopes to sell stories.
Yeah, it could be. What's the name? It was, what's that from the Rooney trial? It was...
Oh my God!
I know.
What is it called?
I can't remember what her name was.
Yes.
Rooney. What was her first name? If you give me her first name,
I have no idea.
Name. Okay,
I have no
I'll
idea.
come back to me. Right. Okay. And
why? Why is Mr. Blobby making a comeback?
Because he's hilarious.
No, he's terrifying.
I'm so glad Mr. Bobby's making a comeback.
I am not pleased at all. I don't understand Mr. Blobby. I don't know why he was such a big thing. And there's a lot of people on my side on this.
Slapstick, fun, hilarious, could go into serious situations and be silly. Mrs. Merton used to do the same. You know, everything's straight, and then Mr. Blobby comes in and creates havoc.
He comes in and wrecks the gaff, and he's screeching. It's you know what? I wanted to go with the Halloween theme. That's why I put him at the end, because it's the most scary thing on that list.
All right, and I'm delighted. I'm delighted he's back.
I think this is his Christmas song.
No, it's not, because it's not in there. Is that Blobby? Oh, Mr. Blobby.
Yeah.
Well, people will remember that anyway. Okay, that's it. I'm delighted Blobby's back. There's hope for us all. You're too young for Mr. Blobby anyway. Noel's house party and all that stuff.
No, don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, he was. My older sisters really liked him, but I think that maybe a thing that they put him on to scared the bejesus out of me whenever I would have been. They would have been watching me, and that may have been it.
And lastly, Disney.
Yes, so a woman died, not in the haunted house mansion, but she had a medical episode. And have you ever heard of the Lucas machine?
No.
It's this piece of medical equipment, and if you're like lying back and getting CPR, it's like comes up like a big box.
Okay.
And it has a mechanism that does the
I do
tests.
know that. Yeah, the CPR.
It's a hard.
I've seen one of them in action.
It's
not nice.
No, it's a difficult thing to see, and
very
to
violent.
The noise of it as well. People say it's not great, but this woman had a medical episode in the haunted mansion in California in Disney, but wasn't pronounced dead until she left the park. And there's this whole conspiracy theory that nobody's ever died at Disney.
And they're trying to maintain that.
Yes, but she came out and they had no cover on her or on anything, and she was like wheeled out through the crowd.
Oh, no.
And it kind of just people have been then sharing other stories, because it's not the first time it's happened, where they're trying to sort of protect Disney's brand by
yeah,
you know,
seems dodgy. All right, okay. Now, wishing to advise that traffic is expected or should expect delays, or find an alternative route on Saturday evening in Dunfanaghy, as the candlelight Halloween parade will be at 7 o'clock, followed by a fireworks display. That's from the Dunfanaghy Festival Fireworks Committee. Listen, Donna Marie, thanks very much indeed. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And enjoy your weekend. You're performing on stage again this weekend?
Yes, tomorrow night, but the first night of the festival's on tonight in the Ballard Theatre.
Say the first night of the what?
It's a festival, so we have two plays on tonight. Festival?
I thought that's what you said.
The festivals.
Okay. Right. And is there tickets available?
There is in the box office. You can ring up, or else you can go in and get them.
Brilliant. And that's the Ballard tonight and tomorrow, did you say?
Tonight and tomorrow.
Okay. Listen, we'll be back with the weather after these.
It's the concert everyone has been waiting for. Join us for the Highland Radio Christmas concert on Tuesday, December the 9th at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny. It's a star-studded lineup of country music starring Derek Ryan, Mike Denver, Jerry Guthrie, Keith and Lorraine McDonald from the Showband Show, Des Willoughby, and me, David James, and my band. Tickets are just €30 and now available at highlandradio.com from the Mount Errigal Hotel reception, or by giving us a call on 074 91 25,000. Overnight accommodation packages available, so don't miss the Highland Radio Christmas concert at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Tuesday the 9th of December.
Rossview Interior's mega Halloween sale is now on in Letterkenny, with unbelievable savings throughout the store. Sofa suites from €1,250, and see the new range of corner sofas. There's dining sets from €790, and huge savings of occasional furniture and lighting. So get along to Rossview Business Park, Letterkenny, just off the Polestar roundabout, and pick up a real bargain.
The car that started it all, the Volkswagen Beetle. Built in Bridge back in 1950. Since then, we've come a long way. From first days at school, first loves, and first jobs. We've been there rain or shine, and the odd bit of sun. 75 years on, we're still proud to call Ireland home. Your Volkswagen. Love every mile. Celebrating 75 years in Ireland.
Volkswagen. Order your 261 with Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. See the full range at connolly's.ie.
Consider tantalising tasty turkey meatballs. Oof, Aldi, you're teasing us. Come on, cooked in the tray. Just pop it in the oven. Handy. Or what about beef teriyaki? That's sizzle. And then there's succulent salmon with garlic and herby butter. Lovely. The only thing that could make that better is chips. Great value, tasty and handy too. Now you're cooking. Aldi ready to cook range. Prepped by us, cooked by you.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
Now I'm told the rain should clear most areas by early afternoon and will be followed this afternoon by sunny spells and some showers. Now, the rain and showers will be heavy at times with a chance of isolated thunderstorms. However, cloud will build from the south towards nightfall. A breezy day with moderate to fresh southerly winds, temperatures 11 to 14 degrees. Now, a wet and cloudy night with widespread rain. As the rain clears towards morning, it will be followed by a mix of clear spells and scattered showers. Lowest temperatures 5 to 8 degrees. So hopefully you get out and have lots of fun this evening if you're out trick-and-treating with the young ones. And it's lovely too. It's a lovely thing to do. And I don't think, as I said before, we do it as much as we used to, but obviously just be safe because there's going to be motorists and what have you out on the road, and respectful of people, and just consider that maybe there are older people or vulnerable people or non-vulnerable people that would be alarmed by certain noises or banging or pets and all that kind of stuff. So in other words, let's all have fun, do whatever we want to do, but do so in a fun and respectful and safe manner. I want to wishing Michaela all the best in her job. Missing Michaela all the best. Wishing Michaela all the best in her new job. You will miss her too, Greg. Of course, we'll all miss Michaela. Someone when you've worked with someone for a long time, you see them every day, and you get to know them and you work with them and all that kind of stuff. Just in relation to that oil spill, by the way, the oil spill between Lagoon and Kilmacrennan, both sides of the road and onto the back road of Ballyar, so it's been extended somewhat from our earlier warning. So if you're on that road, please be careful. Thank you so very much for all of you who listened to the show throughout the course of the week. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks, of course, to those of you who watch the show religiously. Great to have you on board. We're back on Monday morning.